And good morning to everyone. This is Reality Check, hosted by Charles Ellison. However, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, thanks to Charles Ellison, who is taking a well deserved break, but not really because he's always working. But thanks to him, yours truly, attorney Michael Cord, aka Michael X, aka the angriest black man in America, is hosting today from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., tomorrow 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and Wednesday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Big shout out to Charles Ellison and the program director and news director, Dee Patel, for allowing me to do this, and certainly CEO Sarah Lomax Reese. Thank them all for allowing me to sit in the big chair, but more important, thank you all. And who are you? You're my co-host, because no matter what I have scheduled to talk about, those topics are secondary. You know what's primary? Whatever you want to talk about, because you're the co-host. So you're going to dial 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Toll free, 866-361-0900. Once again, 866-361-0900. By the way, you can catch us streaming at WURD Facebook Live, streaming WURD YouTube, and streaming WURD Twitch. And by the way, you can always find us and follow us at WURDradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. So, folks, I know you're calling already, and we'll get to folks as quickly as we can. And I promise you that we will either get to everybody every time I'm on the air, or we will do everything possible to get to everybody while we're on there. And there's something that happens that makes it impossible, then I guarantee you that you'll be one of the first the next time I'm on the air. So the agenda is essentially 5 topics for me, but it could be more because, once again, you're the co-host. Number 1, callers, comments, and questions about anything. That's callers, comments, and questions about anything. That's number 1. You're going to do your thing today, whatever you want to talk about. Now, for me, as you know, I am an attorney, so my area of expertise is the law. So if you have any questions whatsoever about criminal law or civil law, about family law or administrative law, about estates law or real estate law, about tax law or parking law, all you got to do is to give us a call. I mean, think of it. Think of it this way. You got a big-time fancy lawyer in a big-time fancy law office, and you can pick up the phone and call that lawyer, and instead of him charging you the standard, I don't know, $500 to $750 an hour, well, more like $250 to $300 an hour, you can get it pro bono. And when I say pro bono, this is what I mean. People think pro bono means free. Pro bono does not mean free. So when people call me up and say, hey, Mike, I need you to represent my badass son pro bono, I'm like, no, I'm not doing it, because pro bono does not mean free. Pro bono comes from the Latin words pro and bono. Pro means for, bono means good or the public good. So pro bono means for the public good. So when I represent people without charging them, although I'm helping them personally, it's really for the public good. So if there's police brutality in the neighborhood, the cops are framing everybody, then I'll jump in and represent those people pro bono. If there's some senior citizen who can't afford a quality attorney and they need something regarding Social Security, I'll represent that person pro bono because it's bigger than that person. So remember, pro bono does not mean free, even though you don't pay. I want to be clear, you don't pay, but pro bono does not mean free. It means for the public good. So when I represent individuals free of charge, I'm doing it because I know that case protects our community, protects the public, and it does it for a good reason. That's the public good. That's pro bono. We're going to get to our calls in just a couple seconds. So let me go through the agenda again. Number 1, callers, comments, and questions about anything. Number 2, and this is the biggest deal for me, a possible black boycott of certain white businesses. You know, I write a weekly column in the Tribune called Freedom's Journal. And I've been doing that, I don't know, 5-6 years, and things have blown up so very well with that. The Tribune editorial staff said, yo, Mike, can you do another column? We know you don't have time to do a second weekly column, but can you do a monthly column. And with this monthly column, can you do it for the first Tuesday of each month? And can you focus on black economic power? I said to the Tribune, say no more. So about what, 3 months ago, I started with something called Black Dollars Matter. And this month, July, the article that I wrote focuses exclusively on a possible black boycott of certain white businesses. I'll tell you why it's possible. In fact, I'd even argue probable, damn near certain. And I'll tell you which white businesses I'm talking about. It's in an article in the Tribune from the first Tuesday of this month, and we'll talk more about that. We'll talk about the businesses, the companies that I wrote to, and I'll tell you I got some responses already. In addition, number 3 topic is Bill Cosby. You know, many of y'all don't know what the heck y'all talking about. Y'all just see stuff on the internet, and y'all think y'all Johnny Cochran. No, y'all ain't Johnny Cochran. Stay in your lane. And I don't say that with any disrespect. I say because I apply it to myself. I don't talk to people about plumbing or auto mechanics or ice hockey or anything I'm not familiar with. I stay in my lane. I talk about black history stuff because I've done the research. I talk about legal stuff because I've done the research. And many people yelling and screaming about I almost said O.J. Simpson case, but it's pretty close in terms of the law. But in regard to the Bill Cosby case, I'm going to tell you what the law says. And even though I'm an angry black man and I have very little respect for the American legal system, I got to say, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court did the right thing. As I told one of the reporters from the Tribune who interviewed me, I said, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court did a good thing for a bad man. Yeah, Bill Cosby was a bad man, not only because he drugged those women. How do we know it? Because he said he did. Under oath, he said he did. And that should have never come out during the criminal trial, but he did say it in pretrial proceedings in the civil case. So he said it. And I'm repeating, he's also a bad man because he don't like poor black people. I'm sure you all know about that pound cake speech he gave where he ridiculed people named Muhammad and Shaniqua and quote-unquote foolish names like that. Yeah, Bill Cosby, I'm not going to say he went as crazy as Jim Brown, but he used to be really cool. I don't know what happened to that man. Anyway, that's number 3. Number 4, I'm teaching a course at Temple, and it's going to focus on critical race theory. And I got to tell you, you talking about mad? A lot of white people are mad. I mean, they're mad about this critical race theory course. And people need to understand it's primarily a law school course, but it's also taught in some colleges. I'm going to talk more about that. And I'm going to talk about the lead into Wednesday's show, Negro League Baseball. I love Negro Leagues baseball history more than anything. And that's more than hip hop. You all know I love hip hop and I live hip hop, but I got to say, Negro Leagues, because it's plural, not singular. Many people think it was one Negro League. It was not. It was at least 7 successful Negro Leagues. And I just love this because it's bigger than baseball. It's about a self-sustaining black economy. I know many of you out there celebrate the fact that Jackie Robinson got signed, but as I read the history of that, I cry each time because our focus should not have been for one of our best, not say one of our best, because no disrespect to Jackie Robinson, great player, but if you ranked him among the other Negro League baseball players, he might have been, I don't know, number 123. He was the perfect person for it because of his education, his ability to articulate and all that kind of stuff. So he was good in that regard. In terms of raw baseball talent, in fact, he even said himself, he even made it clear himself that he was not the best player in Negro League baseball. But he said, Jackie Robinson, in his own words, he said that, well, he didn't say it, but people around him were right when they said that even though he wasn't the best player, and I want to be clear, Jackie Robinson did admit that he was not anywhere close to the best player in Negro Leagues baseball. But everybody around him said he was the best player to be selected for a number of reasons beyond his athletic ability. And he was a 4-letter superstar at UCLA. He played every sport and did it very well. So we're going to talk about Negro League Baseball as a lead into Wednesday's show. Wednesday is July 14. July 14, 1887, exactly 134 years ago to the very day, white folks said, y'all black people can't play with us no more. Because when pro baseball first started, yeah, black folks were playing. They were playing with white folks. And it wasn't until July 14, 1887 that blacks were officially banned, and that ban lasted for 60 years. We'll talk more about that and a whole bunch of other stuff. But what we got to do is to get to the callers, because the callers are most important. We got Maurice, we got Parker, we got Eugene, and we got the gentleman in that recliner sitting there holding his phone, waiting to be called on. The same way you can see me on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch. We got technology here at WURD. We can see you as well. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Let's keep things moving. We got Maurice in Southwest. Maurice, the microphone is yours. How are you today?
That's right, my friend. We're supposed to have that challenge today about black-on-black crime.
I love it. I love it. You first. You know, my thing is this.
Before I'm going to go by the stats. So, I don't want to believe it. I want it to be a banned statement, but you got to go with the numbers. If we found out that all these killings and shootings were by mostly white people, we would be saying, why are white people killing white people? But
let me say this. Let me just jump in. Let me jump in. I'm going to give you as much time as you need. Yeah, many of us would say it, but I remember this classic line from Chris Rock. He said every time he sees a homeless white person, he says to himself, no reason for that. Because, and it's a great joke, because everything is laid out for white folks. So when you see them struggling, you wonder why. And you say to yourself, no reason for that. But when you see a black person struggling financially, when you see young black men foolishly killing others, there's a million reasons why that happens. And the last reason among those million is that person individual, because this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll give you as much time as you need, Maurice. When you see young black men committing these kind of crimes, it's one of two reasons. One of two reasons. Number one, they're genetically predisposed to violence. It's just something in their genes that make them hate other black people, and that's why they do it. Or, number two, there are societal reasons for their misbehavior. I'm a prime example. I'm a lawyer today, and I was born in North Philly. What did the system do to me? Third grade, they take me out of a poor, under-resourced school at 22nd and Susquehanna, Pratt Arnold, and they put me in Masterman. And once I'm in Masterman, I'm on my way to college, law school, and everything else. What if those clients I represent today, what if those shooters you see and hear about today, what if they got a chance to go to Masterman in third grade? Maurice, you didn't interrupt me once, so I'm not going to interrupt you again. The microphone is yours. Go ahead.
Those are all good points, but when do we hold our own people to certain standards? Why we always have to have an excuse? Like people ask for reparations, but I think reparations is a good thing, but the problem is a lot of people, that make them go stop. They don't try to advance their career. They don't try to thrive because they think this magical check is coming out of the air and they're going to get it. And that's the problem I have now. You look at our neighborhoods, you wonder, where have all the black businesses gone? Ain't no white man came in and snatched no black brothers out of their stores. We gave them up because we listened to what the white man said. Everybody got to go to college. And what happens is everybody is not built for college, but we fell for that rhetoric. Now we don't have our stores and businesses to sustain our neighborhoods anymore. We'll never have a black Wall Street if we don't have any businesses in our neighborhood to circulate money, because there are no black stores. That's the problem I have when I walk through my neighborhood. I got to walk 20 blocks to find a black store. Now, that's the problem I'm saying. I remember going down 52nd Street, and every store was just about a black-owned store. What happened? We gave it up. And guess who took it? The foreigners came in here and said, look, it's the path to gold. The road is paved with gold. But these people need stores, they need businesses, they need that. And what do? We go to them every day, spend our last dollar, and then we look around and cry why there's no businesses in the neighborhood. You remember Big George's. You remember Scotty's. You remember places like that. You remember Punchies. You remember,
and let me tell you this, Maurice, before you go on, nobody apart from the people who grew up in my neighborhood know Mr. Dean. Mr. Dean was a small black businessman who had a variety store at Opal and Cumberland, could barely read and write, but knew enough to run his business and was the only black man, I'm talking about in the 70s, early 70s, with a Cadillac and his own business and had the best house on the block because we all supported Mr. Dean. Go ahead, man. Keep talking.
I'm going to give you a quick example. A brother of mine named Billy Thompson was a guard up at Greater Ford of mine. He started with me at the same time. I said, what did you do before you came up to Greater Ford? He says, what are you talking about? I got 11 stores on the street.
Woo!
And I'm talking about up there near 33rd and Lehigh.
And what years are we talking about?
About 1990.
Okay.
But since 1990, when I used to get off work and get the big Georges and stuff, I can ride down 52nd Street and I will not find any place that's a Afro-American store. Now, when I say I can't find any place, it might be one or two, but
gotcha.
not when it was 10 or 20. The problem. We keep talking about we got to help our black community, or we say buy black. Well, I struggle to find a place to buy black.
Let me ask you this, Maurice. Do you think part of that, do you think it's because black people just hate each other and don't want to support black business, or do you think it's a lack of education and enlightenment and wisdom?
Well, it's both, but the problem is that we listen to the hype. The hype tells us that what we should do with our children, and instead of listening to our heart, we listen to what the white man say. The white man say do this, do that. We got to do it. Why right now? Why are we talking about the insurrection? I don't care about what them. If they don't care that people came to kill them, why should I care? You know what I'm saying? We talk about.
But Maurice, you would agree that we should be concerned. We should be concerned about white folks with guns going after congressmen and women, because if those white folks with guns will go after white congressmen and women, don't you think we and know what happened so that they won't come after us, or when they do, we'll be prepared? I'm just saying, shouldn't we know about this stuff? Shouldn't we be concerned about this stuff? Maybe not as an immediate priority, but we shouldn't ignore it.
Oh, we should know about everything, but the problem is, why are we consistent? Why do we keep talking about Donald Trump keeping his memory alive, keeping his power alive, because he's the big bad boogeyman, instead of striving for our own leaders? Who in the Philadelphia that you can name that's a leader that's black?
You make a good point, Maurice, because our plight was the same or worse even before that fake orange president.
That's right. Where are the Dave Richardsons and people like that? Where are they at now? We don't have any politicians like that, or guys that strive, the activists that is out there. Where's the Leon Sullivans of today? I don't see a preacher to wash his jockstrap right now. See, this is the problem. Do you know that 31 people got shot over this weekend? Do you know that? And I bet you not even 10% were white. This is why there's black on black crime. Why is black boys going over to across City Line Avenue committing a murder? What is going on? And then who they killed? They didn't
Maurice,
City Line Avenue kill nobody white. They killed somebody black.
Just so we're clear, you agree with me that they didn't do it because they are genetically predisposed, that they're just some violent monsters, and that's why they did it. You don't believe that, do you?
No, black people are not monsters. That's another thing that we start believing, that we all crazy, we all got mental illness. We don't have mental illness. We had crazy people back when we was in the 60s and the 50s. But guess what? We took off the yellow hat and we helped them. We looked out for them. Families took them in. Now today, they won't even take care of their own parents now. This is the problem. We lost our moral standards. When you ride down the block around here, all you do is see cars parked on the pavement, people blast the music Tuesday mornings, and crazy stuff like that. Nobody says nothing. Nobody.
Maurice, we got 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Right,
Go ahead.
Let me close with this. This is all I'm saying. I'm blackity black. I'm all for black. But the problem is, when are we going to hold ourselves to stand? How are we going to talk about everything else going on when we don't take care of our own house? We got to take care of our own. Cops can't do it. Politicians can't do it. You see something wrong on your block, you go get Jimmy and Larry. Let's go and take care of it. But now, what we do? Complain, or what we do? Let's call the white cops so you can terrorize the whole neighborhood instead of handling ourselves. That is the problem. I'll leave it at that.
You mean what you say, and you say what you mean. And I must respect that. Maurice was number one on our call-in list today, and those of you who want to join in, we've got to take a quick commercial break in about 30 seconds, but I want Eugene and West Philly to know we haven't forgot you. You're up next, and Michael and Abington, as well as everybody else. But first, the break. WURD 96.1 FM.
Between family dinners, bedtime stories, and study sessions, Pico knows that life never stops moving. So if your energy bills are adding up, Pico has programs available, like new payment options, flexible billing, and financial assistance to help you manage your bills and your budget for the essential energy you and your family need. Learn how Pico can help keep your life moving with payment arrangements. See if you qualify at pico.com/help.
Hey WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
And we are back, and as the man just said, you're listening to Reality Check, hosted by, I call him erudite, I call him learned, I call him thorough. You call him Charles Ellison, does his thing and does it so very well Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. But Charles Ellison is taking a well-deserved break. In fact, not really a break because he's always working anyway. So he said, yo, Mike, are you available? I said, I think so. I know I got a few hearings during the week, but fortunately, those hearings either are by Zoom or much later in the day. So they normally start by 9:15. They last, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 minutes, no more than 45 minutes. So by the time I'm finished those early morning Zoom hearings, because, yeah, we're still doing that because COVID is still out there, I'm available by 9:45, 10 o'clock, which is exactly why I'm here. Who am I? I am attorney Michael Cord, a.k.a. Michael X, a.k.a. the angriest black man in America. In about 30 seconds, we're going to get to Eugene and West Philly, and I really appreciate what Maurice said because he makes some great points when he talks about accountability. And I have to, and I've never said this publicly, but, you know, I make the arguments I make about societal causes of why black people do dumb stuff to other black people. And those societal causes are real. But Maurice says, Mike, I hear what you're saying, man, but where does accountability come in? And privately at home, if I had a son, all that societal stuff would go out of the window. You ain't selling no drugs. You ain't carrying no guns. You ain't hitting no women. I don't care anything about what society has done to make you the kind of person you are. You're going to have to figure out how to get around that. So I completely agree with Maurice about accountability. We need it. But at the same time, I'm not going to let the devil off the hook. I'm not going to let the devil appear to be not the underlying cause of this. I'm saying even though there is racism, even though there is white supremacy / white savagery, yeah, we can beat that. Think about what our enslaved ancestors went through. From 1619 to 1865, you can talk about hell on earth. They went through hell on earth, and look how they beat it. So these young quote-unquote thugs today, they got the blood of their enslaved and ancient African ancestors running through their veins. So yeah, they can be oppressed by the system, but damn it, you got the blood of kings and queens. You got Nat Turner and Gabriel Prosser. You got Harriet Tubman. You got Sojourner Truth. You got their blood in your veins. So yeah, the white man keeps you down like the white man kept them down, but they rose up and they had much more hell to go through. You have nothing to go through. So put on your big boy pants and fight back and do what you're supposed to do. Having said that, before we get to Eugene and Wes, I just want to read some stats that I wrote in an article in the Tribune about 2 years ago. And this surprises people. Number one, poor urban whites have a higher rate of violence toward each other at a rate of 56.4 per 1,000 compared to poor urban blacks at a rate of 51.3 per 1,000. I got to repeat that. If you have 1,000 persons in your community and it's a white community, the violence tends to be 56.4 of those 1,000 that commit violent crimes against each other. 56.4 out of 1,000 whites commit violent crimes against each other. But it's less for black folks. It's only 51.3 per 1,000. So only about 51 out of 1,000 black persons commit violent crimes against each other. But for white folks, it's 5 higher at 56. Am I making this stuff up? No. Where did I get this from? I got it from the Department of Justice's Bureau of Justice Statistics. So the U.S. government says that poor white people commit more violent crime against each other than poor black people commit against each other. Probably didn't know that. And number two, and I promise you, Eugene, you're up in 10 seconds. The other thing is this. The Center for Disease Control pointed out that, quote, rates of homicides, gun killings, and illicit drug fatalities are the highest in counties where 9 of 10 residents are white. I got to repeat that. The Center for Disease Control notes that the rates of homicides, gun killings, and illicit drug fatalities are highest in counties where 9 of 10 residents are white and where the fake president, Donald Duck, won. So if you go to those majority white communities where 9 of 10 residents are white, and you look at, of those communities, which ones supported Donald Duck, they have the highest rates of homicides, gun killings, and illicit drug fatalities. That's not North Philly. That's not Compton. That's not the Bronx. That's not where you typically would think it would be. Numbers don't lie. Let's keep things moving. Waiting patiently in West Philly, Eugene. Eugene, how can we help you or how can you help us?
Okay. Hi, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
And thanks for a great show. Mike, a couple things. I was listening to Solomon's show just before you came on, and he mentioned that there was a brother, a black man in Texas on parole, who perhaps voted by mistake, and the courts caught up to him, and they sentenced him to 40 years in jail. I want you to talk about that. One other thing, I'm from New York City originally, and there's lots of white crime. However, the media focuses on black and brown people. You would never think, like I watch FBI files sometimes, you would never think that whites are doing these bank robberies, killing each other, killing their whole families, you know. Elaborate on those two things for me. Thank you.
I certainly will. Thank you for the call, and I will get to those. I want to make sure I get to all the callers. So, Eugene, keep your dial locked because before 1 p.m. I will be talking about that. I'm familiar with the case of the black man who voted in the 2020 primary in Texas, and as a result, while he was on parole, as a result, he could face 20 years. Now, I'm going to talk about it, Eugene, because you asked me to, but what I try to stay away from is if another host talked about something, that's his thing or that's her thing. I don't want to come in behind him or behind her and, you know, steal his thunder or steal her thunder. So my advice would be, because Solomon Jones is so thorough, I know he covered everything about the topic. So there's really no need for me to come behind him and talk more about it. But, you know, if Eugene wants me to, I'll mention a few things. But again, I try to stay in my lane, do what I do for my shows and let other hosts do what they do for their shows. But again, I'll come back to that. Next up, waiting patiently in Abington, we got Michael. Michael, how can we help you or how can you help us? And Michael in Abington going once. Michael in Abington going twice. And Michael in Abington gone. Let's keep it moving. University City, Fishman. Is it Fishman or Fishman?
They call me the Fishman. You got to hook them to cook them, and you got to fry them to fry them, brother. How we doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Thanks for the call, Mr. Fishman. How can we help you, or how can you help us?
Last night on the local news, they ran a story on a death peddler of ghost guns. Somebody killed him, 19 years old, but they more focused on the people who killed him, but they didn't focus on the peddler of death, the 19-year-old, and what track goes back to his source and his organization of selling these deadly weapons throughout the city of Philadelphia and beyond. I'd like to hear your response.
Thank you very much for the call. We appreciate that, and I will respond to that. We appreciate that call from Fishman, University City, and those of you who want to be like Fishman, those who want to be like Eugene, those who want to be like Maurice, give us a call. The numbers are 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065, toll free, 866-361-0900. That's 866-361-0900. And by the way, you can always catch us streaming on WRD Facebook Live, WRD YouTube, and WRD Twitch. Let me first go to what Fishman in University City talked about. I don't want anybody to be killed. I mean, there are people obviously should be put in jail and separated from society and all that kind of stuff, but I don't want anybody to be killed. Obviously, there are situations where in self-defense you got to do what you got to do, but I got to say, if you are a death peddler, and I think that's the term Fishman used, then, you know, you got to play by the rules of that game. You know, if you're selling a ghost gun, you're probably not selling it to go target shooting. You're probably selling it so that somebody can use it in order to be extremely discreet and sneaky and use subterfuge in order to kill somebody without getting caught. So you selling these guns that promote murder, and you got murdered. Again, I'm not celebrating anybody's death, especially a young man, a teenager like this person here, but I can't call that person a victim. That's like a bunch of guys agree to have a shootout, and 10 guys have a shootout, and after the smoke clears, 9 of them are dead, and 1 survives. Well, I can't call those 9 dead victims because you knew the game. You chose the game. You participated in it. So I'm not really shedding any tears for you. And I don't know the entire story. Nobody knows because there hasn't been a trial for the 2 guys involved allegedly in the killing of this young person selling this gun. But if the media reports are true, if they are true, then my only advice is to people, don't do what this guy did, because it's a dangerous game, and not just a dangerous game, it's a deadly game, and he found out the hard way, and that's really, really unfortunate. Those of you who want to join in, you can do so. The numbers again, 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065, and I believe there was a second part of Fishman's call. I can't recall what it was, but I do want to say in response to his comments, great comments about guns, you know, for me, it's not so much this one kid selling this one gun illegally. Yeah, that's bad, but you know what's worse? The legal system that allows gun shops to sell as many guns as people want. The legal system that allows these gun trading events. We just go to these warehouses and people got guns and they just sell them to each other and trade them. You know, for this one ghost gun this young man had, that pales in comparison to the millions, literally millions of guns that gun shops sell throughout America. And it's only because of the power of the National Rifle Association. They pretty much say anybody who wants a gun should get it. I don't care if they're crazy. I don't care if they're violent. I don't care if whatever. Everybody gets a gun. So while we are clutching our pearls about what happened with this one young man with this one gun, we're to look at these gun shops that are legally allowed to sell guns. Not just guns, but sell a bunch of guns. I'm not going to name the individual, but a client of mine, his case was first in the state court system, but it was such a bad case, the feds picked it up. And they got him for purchasing 37 guns over a 6-day period. 37 guns over a 6-day period. And what did he do? He went on the street and sold those guns for a big profit. So if he paid $500 for a gun, he sold it for $750. If he paid $750 for a gun, he sold it for $1,000. So he was making money because the people he was selling the guns to, they were quote unquote criminals. So they couldn't legally buy the guns. So he sold it to them. And again, it was such a big case, 37 guns, that the feds picked it up. And the evidence was overwhelming. There's video showing my client going into, I mean, he just did some foolish stuff. He would go into the gun shops and park near or in front of the gun shop so you can see him get out of the car. You can see his license plate. He goes in, they got cameras. He shows his driver's license, all that. So they see, and they got the serial numbers on all these guns, and he sells them to people, and they use them in crime. It's just a mess. And we had to work out a guilty plea deal because we couldn't fight that case and win because he purchased the guns. The guns had serial numbers on them, and the guns were used in later crimes. And one of the guys he used, and you know, this is really primarily for young women, where these young women go in and they buy these guns for these guys, and then they got their name on the paperwork, and they're caught later on. But he had this other young guy, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because I don't want to get into my client's personal business, but the one guy he was using who didn't have a record to help him buy some guns, he snitched. He told the feds everything. So the feds got my client's driver's license. They got his license plate. They got video and photo of him going into and out of and inside the gun shops. And they got his driver's license when he's purchasing some of them. So it was a total of 37 altogether. And then his homie snitched on him. Ain't no way we're going to trial on that. He was facing more than, 35, 40 years. Worked at a deal where he got like 2.5, 3, about 3.5, 4 years. 3.5, 4 years is better than 35 to 40 years. But my point is, as bad as the guy with the ghost gun the other night, as bad as my client with the 37 guns, who's the real monster? The real monster are the gun shop owners who sold those guns to my client. The real devil is the legal system that allowed those gun shop owners to sell all those guns to 1/2 persons over a 6-day period. That's the real problem. If we cut those guns off at the source, my client wouldn't have been able to get the 37 guns that he was able to sell to people on the street. And from those guns, we got death and destruction. I was going to go to our next caller, but we got a commercial break coming up, so I don't want to cut off that caller. So let me just mention a few things before we get to our next commercial break in about 2 minutes. But I promise you, we'll get to everybody. We're going to get to Rashid. We're going to get to Lynn. We're going to get to Gary. We're going to get to everybody. But I want to remind folks that on Wednesday, 2 days from now, Wednesday, July 14, it'll be exactly 134 years ago to the very day that white folks banned black folks from playing pro baseball. People are shocked, like, what? They did it in 1887. I thought that was a relatively new thing. No. Initially with pro baseball, which came from the English game known as rounders, and then the Americans changed rounders to what we know as baseball today. And Abner Doubleday made some rules. But anyway, what we call baseball today, initially here in America, black folks were playing with white folks in pro baseball. In fact, during the era of slavery, even before 1865. And did you know they were also doing it right here in Philly? So it wasn't until black folks were kicking white folks' behinds in baseball, striking them out and stealing bases and hitting home runs. White folks on July 14, 1887 said, enough of this. Y'all banned. And that ban lasted for 60 years until Jackie Robinson was signed. And many people think it was a good thing that he was signed, and I'm saying, okay, if that's what he wanted. But for me, the focus should have been to expand the Negro Leagues baseball instead of trying to be around white folks playing baseball. You know, it's sad, and I'm going to talk about white businesses when we come back from the commercial break, but it's sad that black people tend to be like the abused spouse in a relationship. You know, the person beats us up every Friday night when he's drunk. He apologizes, and when he beats us up on Friday night because he's drunk or she's drunk, We leave on Saturday. And then he apologizes on Sunday and we come back. And then he does it next week, next week, next week. We seem like we love the abuse because we keep running back to the white man. Talk more about that and talk to the callers first to break. WURD 96.1 FM.
Looking for an exciting and well-paying new career opportunity? MCAP is a free manufacturing career accelerator program. In just 7 weeks, learn new career skills, earn industry certifications, and connect to manufacturing companies who are hiring. To see if MCAP is right for you, call 215-770-7101. That's 215-770-7101. MCAP is brought to you by Drexel University's Goodwin College of Professional Studies in partnership with EDSI Incorporated. MCAP is an equal opportunity program. Diverse candidates, including women and people of color, are strongly encouraged to apply.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
Yep, this is WRD 96.1 FM. This is WRD 900 AM. This is Reality Check hosted by Charles Ellison. But today, yours truly, attorney Michael Cord, a.k.a. Michael X, a.k.a. the angriest black man in America, is sitting in the big chair thanks to my good friend, Charles Ellison. And I'm doing my thing on his show today from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then finally Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We got a lot of folks that we will get to. Our last caller was Mr. Fishman. We got Rashid, we got Lynn, we got Gary. We're going to get to Rashid in about 30 seconds. But let me go back to, I believe it was Eugene mentioned about a black man being arrested in Texas. And yeah, that's true. What happened was it was the Democratic primary in 2020, and a black man by the name of Hervis Rogers, about 61, 62 years old, waited for 6 hours in line to vote. And he was serious about voting. I guess if you wait 6 hours, that proves you're serious. And in fact, he was the last person in line to vote, and he cast his vote. But because he had been previously convicted of a felony, he was ineligible to vote. And it wasn't just some local county assistant DA or some county sheriff who came after him. It was the Texas State Attorney General who came after one man, Hervis Rogers. But really, he wasn't coming after one man. He was coming after black people, because this prosecution is designed to scare the hell out of all black persons. Even black people might have a parking ticket. They might say, oh no, this guy got arrested because he voted and he had some contact with the cops, and I got a parking violation 17 years ago, so now I'm afraid to vote. And even though that might sound crazy, many people who don't know, they don't want to go through the hassle like Hervis Rogers is going through. Fortunately for him, he's going to win the case. Why? Because he has some pro bono attorneys from the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, who will be representing him free of charge. And when it comes to your rights as a citizen, nobody, I repeat, nobody does it better than the ACLU. And by the way, this is not some minor misdemeanor charge. This is a second-degree felony. Mr. Rogers could do 20 years in prison. And by the way, it's not just Texas that got laws like this. There are 30 states in the United States that have laws similar, which means there's only 20 states that don't have it. So in more than half the states of the United States, if you had some prior contact with law enforcement, you got a conviction, you could actually go to jail for voting. Think about that. You got a man who's trying to better his community by being a productive member of that community by voting, and now he could be facing 20 years in prison. We'll keep that story updated, and it really won't be me. I got to give a big shout out to Solomon Jones, who broke the story here at WRD. So I encourage folks to continue to listen to Solomon Jones. Let's keep things moving. Next up, waiting patiently, is Rashid in West Philly. Rashid, how can we help you? How can you help us?
Yeah, Brother Michael. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you today?
Okay. I'm calling calling from the African Cultural Arts Forum. We've been servicing the community since 1969. What happened is, I brought this up before, what happened is, in the economic development situation in the community, we manufacture products and we serve it to the local stores. And we've had problems with different supermarkets, Save-A-Lot and Fresh Grocery. We've had problems with them because they're saying, we've been servicing these stores when they were on the chain. They're saying now that people are putting products and we're paying insurance to be in these stores. Is there anything we can do about it?
I don't know, and the reason why I don't know is that civil litigation beyond my area of expertise as a criminal defense attorney. However, I do know lawyers who specialize in civil litigation, and I would encourage you to do two things. One, call a good friend of mine who's an attorney, a guy by the name of Troy Wilson. Troy Wilson. His number is 215-985-4566. That's 215-985-4566. Troy Wilson, and he'd be in a better position to answer that question. The other thing is, it depends on what the policies are or what the contractual obligations are for the stores you mentioned. They might be within their legal rights to do what they did. I don't know, because I don't know, and I don't know anything about what you're referring to, but I appreciate the fact that you're calling me as an attorney to get some insight. I told you there's two things you need to do. One, call Troy Wilson, 215-985-4566. And also, I don't know if you ever got a copy of this document called the Help List that my organization ATTAC, ATAC, Avenging the Ancestors Coalition, came up with. There probably is some information, legal information, on that document that can help you. How do you get that help list? One of two ways. The fastest way to get it is to email me at michaelcordx@gmail.com. That's Michael Cordx, MICHAELCOARD, the letter X, @gmail.com. Or call my organization ATTAC, ATAC, Avenging the Ancestors Coalition. That number is 215-552-8751, 215-552-8751. And between Troy Wilson and Help List, you should get some help.
And Michael, this is part of the economic development program you're talking about for the community. This is something that we have to take very seriously, because a lot of products that's being produced in the community are not being sold in these local stores.
And before you go, Rashid, please repeat the name of your organization and tell people how they can contact you to offer any assistance.
African Cultural Arts Forum, 221 South 52nd Street. Phone number is 215-476-0680. And we've been servicing. A lot of people know our product line. ACAB, we've been servicing communities since 1969. So
in fact, what I need you to do, Rashid, because as you know, people are listening and they don't really have a pen and a pad right next to them. And then when they do, you said it so fast the first time and the second time, nobody knows what you said. So can you repeat twice, very slowly, the name of the organization and the phone number? Very slowly. Remember, folks are writing this stuff down.
African Cultural Arts Forum, better known as ACAB. The address is 221 South 52nd Street. On the car door that everyone's talking about, there's no black industry. My phone number is 215-476-0680.
Rashid, we appreciate you not only giving us that contact information so that folks can write it down, because what you're talking about is extremely important. There's nothing more important in a capitalistic society than for black folks to get their money stuff right. So that's exactly what you and the African Cultural Arts Forum is doing. And I want to thank you for sharing the information, also for just doing what you do for the community. We appreciate you doing that, and we thank you for the call. Thank you very much, Rashid. And those of you who want to be like Rashid, who want to be like Mr. Fishman, who want to be like Eugene, who want to be like Maurice, give us a call. The numbers are 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065, toll free, 866-361-0900. Once again, 866-361-0900. By the way, Rashid did mention some stores that he apparently is having some problems with, and, you know, we let people say whatever they want to say, assuming it's consistent with the FCC regulations. But I know two of the stores he mentioned, I've personally heard some good things about them, but I don't know everything about them. I just want to say we want to make sure we give equal opportunity for people to say what they want to say and people to defend their reputation. Having said that, we're going to go to Darby and speak to Lynn. Lynn and Darby, how can we help you, or how can you help us?
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing very well, fighting the good fights, winning most of them.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, Brother Rashid, I want to commend him. I, not too long ago, was on 52nd Street purchasing some books from Hakeem's bookstore.
Yes,
and I looked across the street, and I saw his business. And, you know, you have to pay to park around there. So I just pulled over on the side street, and he didn't have the product, but then I called the distributor of the product and told him to get some more of that inventory in that store so I can purchase it, because otherwise I would have to go, like, in Mount Airy, and I'm scared of that Lincoln Drive. But, you know, it's businesses on 52nd Street, and we have to support them. We have to support them. So I encourage everybody to support his store, Hakeem's bookstore, and any other black business you can find on 52nd Street. But I was calling you today, Michael, about Brother Maurice from Southwest Philadelphia. I agree with him. We have to start doing more for ourselves. And Maurice had mentioned at all these events we go to start having some voter registration forms so we can fill them out and get people registered. And on Brother Charles' show, I heard that, you know, they're going to work on having the voting age changed to 16. But you know what? I agree with Maurice. We have to, we have to start doing for ourselves. Get out here, encourage people to vote, get them registration forms at these summer events, make them available, talk to the young people about the importance of voting, what our ancestors went through, and just encourage them, because they are getting really, really, really bizarre out here with these voter suppression laws. It's down Texas and all these southern states, but it's going to creep on up here, just like the other caller said, that event where the ghost guns in Ardmore. Now, as soon as it creeps over to these outside suburbs, we're going to have some reaction to it. But I agree with Maurice. We got to start helping us out. Oh, and Michael, another thing I wanted to call you. After I called you last week to try to give my name to help the brother at Attack, 3 more girlfriends called me and asked me for your number. So they're willing to help also. So they're going to call. I call. So we're waiting, and we're ready to help Attack and join the fight. And thank
Lynn,
you for all you
we appreciate that. We appreciate you willing to volunteer. As you know, a lot of folks make requests and even make demands, but are not willing to put their effort into it. You're not like that. You need assistance, and you're willing to provide assistance, and we appreciate you for that. Thank you very much, Lynn from Darby.
Thank you, Michael, for all you do.
My pleasure, and thank you. Those of you who want to be like Lynn and like Rashid and like Mr. Fishman and like Eugene and like Maurice, you know the number, 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065, toll free, 866-361-0900, 866-361-0900. Remember, folks, I want to get to everybody. I will get to everybody, but I have 5 topics I want to talk about. We've already covered one. One is number 1. That's the callers' comments and questions about anything. That's what you all are doing. But I got to get to number 2, which is my article in the Tribune about a possible black boycott against certain white businesses. I'm going to get to my other topic, which is Bill Cosby, so that you all can understand how the law works and how Bill Cosby is a bad man, but the court made a good decision. In other words, a good decision for a bad man. That's the Bill Cosby topic. There's also something called critical race theory. If you've been watching the news, you might have been led to believe that this is some anti-white, hardcore revolutionary theory that's being taught in elementary schools about white people. Nothing could be further from the truth. The critical race theory is a law school concept dealing with race as the fundamental tenet of the foundation of the American legal system. And it's also taught in some colleges. And I'm actually going to be teaching and discussing it at Temple University in the fall semester. I'll talk more about that later. And then the final topic I want to talk about is Negro League Baseball, because on this coming Wednesday, July 14, it'll be exactly 134 years ago to the day that white folks officially banned black folks from playing pro baseball. More about that later. Let's get back to the phone lines. I believe in Southwest we got Gary. Gary, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you for taking my call, Mike.
My pleasure.
One thing I wanted to say, man, I just appreciate the fact that you're such a champion for our people. You provide us with information, and you don't mince your words. You say what needs to be said, and I just pray that we, as a people, learn to come together and support one another. Like Brother Maurice, I listen to him a lot on the radio, and I really respect that brother also. Because, Mike, we have a lot of people who look like us, and I always say to other individuals that are really not about us, and we've got to get rid of those individuals and get people in there who have the passion that really want to help and do for our people. Because you look here in the city of Philadelphia, with gentrification and all those other things that are going on, they're displacing the black community. And this crime, the reason they're not really trying to fight the crime is because they want us to get out. And then once we're out, they'll have better schools, be safer communities. And I want to say we do have a part to play, too. What we read, what we watch on TV and on movies, especially, I don't even want to name the station, but cable station, it's a lot of garbage on there. And I hear young people talking about these series. And sometimes I sit down and I just look at it just to see what's going on. And then when I go out in the street, Mike, it's like, wow, this is our reality. We have to respect ourselves. We're kings and queens, and we have to act as such. So we've got to do better when it comes to that, because other ethnic groups, they look at us and they look down on us. But we're great people. And that's what I wanted to say. Thank you, Mike, for your time.
Not only did you say it, you said it very well, Gary. Thank you very much for the call. We appreciate that profound words from a profound young man, Gary, in Southwest. Got to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. WURD 96.1 FM.
They're back.
Everyone's ready.
Platinum Shows presents the Dell Music Center Summer Series. Sunday, August 1st, it's Jeffrey Osborne. On the wings of love. Peebo Bryson. I'm so into you. And Regina Bell. Then Sunday, August 15th, it's the Basement Party with Big Daddy Kane. Baby Cool Mo D. EPMD, Nice and Smooth. The Sugar Hill Gang with a Furious Five featuring Grandmaster Melly Mel and Scorpio, Roxanne Shante, and Tough Crew. Then Sunday, September 5th, Labor Day weekend, it's the Party in the Park with the Whispers. Stephanie Mills. And After 7. Tickets available at the Dell box office and Ticketmaster.com. For more information, log on to ppshows.com.
Get in and get seen at the Einstein Orthopedics Fracture Care Clinic. If you think you've broken a bone or have been told by your doctor that you have a fracture, the Einstein Fracture Care Clinic offers same-day, in-person, or telehealth appointments. We don't just give you peace of mind. Einstein Orthopedics provides answers when you need them. Visit einstein.edu/fracturecare to learn more.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently black. Talk Media.
WURD.
Lifting every voice
Till earth and heaven ring.
This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media. Reality check.
With Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio
and WURDradio.com.
The man is right. This is Reality Check, hosted by Charles Ellison, but Charles Ellison is away on a well-deserved break, but not really because he's always working. But he said before he left, yo, Michael X, can you sit in for me? I said, let me check my schedule. I noticed that my court schedule allowed me to do this today, tomorrow, and on Wednesday. That's why yours truly, Attorney Michael Cord, a.k.a. Michael X, a.k.a. the angriest black man in America, is doing his thing today and for the next 2 days. Those of you who want to join in, the numbers are 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Toll free, 866-361-0900. Once again, 866-361-0900. As I said earlier, I got a whole bunch of stuff I want to get to, but you all are first. We were going to go to Pat, but it looks like we lost Pat. Pat, if you want to get back with us, please do so. In the meantime, let me just tell you the stuff I was trying to get to you earlier, but I put it all on hold because I wanted to give you all an opportunity to say whatever you wanted to say. Let me go to this black boycott of certain white business. But before that, I want to read to you all a letter that I received. And actually, for me, it's a fan letter. Many of you might think that it's a hate letter, but for me, when white folks send me racist stuff, it's like fuel. And that fuel keeps me motivated, keeps me inspired. And I'm not going to read the guy's name, but he has an Italian name, last name. His first name is James, but he has an Italian name, and he's from Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. And he sent me a letter. It's dated, actually it's postmarked June 2nd, 2021. I was holding on to it for a while. I wanted to read it to you all, so let me read it now. And those of you who can see us streaming on WRD Facebook Live and WRD YouTube and WRD Twitch, you can see me reading it now. It says, "Hey Cord, I just saw you on Channel 3, and I only wish that Frank Rizzo was still in charge. He knew how to keep you black people in line, unlike the bleeding heart liberal mayor we have now and the worthless sister who is the police commissioner. What do you expect will happen when you black people riot? You get bashed over the head and tear gassed like you should. You people are too uppity and should worry more about a good work ethic and not having 70% of yo children's to unwed," and he says the B word. So he says, you all should not be having 70% of yo children's, with an S on the end, children's to unwed B word. You people are only 13% of the population in America, but are responsible for 50% of the murders. Young colored males are killing each other in record numbers with no end in sight. My favorite memory is that filthy animal, Delbert Africa, being dragged by his nappy head by the Philadelphia Police Department. James, Italian guy from Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. And there's a lot to unpack here, but I will respond with an eloquent legal argument that was taught to me in the first day of law school in my Constitutional Law 101 course. And it goes like this when black people respond to racist white people. Go to hell. That's the argument. I rest my case. There's a lot I could say in response to that, but I'm not going to. But I love it when I get letters and emails and stuff like this because it lets me know that I'm right on track. You know, you want the good people to love you, and you want the bad people to hate you. If the bad people don't hate you, then you're doing something wrong. I want the angels to be on my side. I want the devils to attack me. It's as simple as that. But before we get to our call, it's like this letter and letters like it really keep me going. You know, my response, the eloquent response I gave, that's really my response. Because when it comes to white people, he's right about one thing. I am uppity. When it comes to white folks, I'm really uppity. I mean, you as a white person, especially white man, you can't say anything to me. I mean, I'm not going to repeat over the air what I normally say to white people face to face who challenge me on stuff. The first thing I say is, I got the answer to your question. I have the response to your inquiry. But who the hell are you? I don't have to answer anything. You don't count to me. I don't have to explain myself to you. I got the perfect explanation. But because you are a white man in America, I don't have to respond to you. I can ignore you. I don't have to do what my father had to do. I don't have to do what my grandfather had to do. I don't have to do what I can tell you to go to hell to your face. And ain't nothing you can do about it. How you like that? But let me just say this very quickly before we get to our callers. We got a few other calls we got to get to. We did finish with Lynn and with Gary. We're going to, had hoped to get to Pat, but we lost Pat, so we got Joyce, and I believe it's Matum, A-M-A-T-U-M, Matum. The person will correctly pronounce that if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But let me just say this. So in the letter, and that's why we got to be careful about, and I understand the argument that Maurice and other folks were making, and Maurice is a bright young man who makes some eloquent arguments. But you see people like this guy here who says young colored males are killing each other in record numbers with no end in sight. So when we as black people jump on that bandwagon and start making it seem like these quote-unquote young thugs are just destroying America and it's their fault and not society's fault, we play right into the hands of people like this guy. So I'm just saying, let's not blame the lesion for the cancer. Let's blame the cancer for the lesion. What I mean, when you see that ugly sore on your leg because you got cancer, who do you blame? What do you blame? Do you blame that lesion? No. Where'd that lesion come from? The lesion came from the cancer. So you got to go after the cancer, and once you get rid of the cancer, you don't have the lesion. Those so-called young black thugs out there shooting each other, take them out of their under-resourced schools in the hood, like you did me. Put them in Masterman, like you did me. Allow them to get a great education, like you did me. And then they'll be on their way to college and to law school and to medical school or to plumbing or to carpentry or whatever. So please, black folks, don't fall for the okay. It's easy to see that ugly, horrific, smelly, pus-filled lesion. It's easy to see that. But it takes a trained eye to see the cancer that caused the lesion. The other thing I want to say very quickly is, and just I might come back to this. I don't know. I might not. Depends on what the ancestors whisper to me. And then we're going to get to Joyce. Very quickly, Joyce, in 30 seconds, I'll get with you. He says that Rizzo knew what to do to black people. Then he says that we should have gotten bashed over the head. Then he says, you people are uppity. Well, yeah, you're right. I am uppity. I'm like the Muhammad Ali of black lawyers. You know, I'll tell you I'm great because I'm great. And I'm great because I got the blood of my ancient African ancestors who created the first law on this planet. I got their blood running through my veins. I got the blood of Charles Bowser running through my veins. I got the blood of Cecil B. Moore running through my veins. I got the blood of Nat Turner, damn it, running through my veins. So you can't tell me anything. I almost slipped and cursed right there. Let me slow down so the profanity doesn't slip out. Anyway, he says here, you people are only 13% of the population, but are responsible for over 50% of the murders. Who are the serial killers throughout American history? Are they black people? Who are the high school mass murdering killers? Are they black people? And what about what the United States Bureau of Justice Statistics said? They said, quote, poor urban whites have a higher rate of violence at a rate of 56.4 per 1,000 than poor urban blacks at a rate of 51.3 per 1,000. What does that mean? If you got 1,000 white people together, more than 56 of them are violent criminals. But if you got 1,000 black people together, only 51 of them are violent criminals. You can't argue with the numbers. I got much more to say, but I don't have time for this James, Italian guy from Mount Ephraim. But I'm so glad he sent me that letter. And I just want white people to know, please, keep hating, because your hating is energy, it's vitamins, it's power, it's fuel for me. I'm a car, and I don't run on gasoline. I run on white hate. So the more white hate you give me, the more fuel I have for my car. That is Michael X, the son of Nat Turner. I always said I'm Nat Turner with a law degree. We got to get to the callers. I got a little distracted, but not really. The ancestors wanted me to deal with that, and I dealt with that. Let's keep things moving. Waiting patiently is Joyce. Joyce, how can we help you, or how can you help us?
Michael, you have done a fantastic job. I say that you have put the nail in the coffin when it comes to white hate, because they don't want a black person to do anything that makes good sense, because they too busy perpetrating us as a-holes and as non-African Indian or whatever they want to give us. But they're not going to give us a human type of venture, because that would put too much sense in our morals. And yes, I have a problem with them, and I say them like he say yo people. There is not a yo people, because they the ones that started this nonsense.
Yep.
They the ones that can get off on killing people and laughing. Okay? There's no black person I know, unless they really have a medical problem, okay? And like George had said prior to, we did coddle people that were handicapped. But then when you got these little young, fresh, fast girls that's mixing with the white folks, thinking that that two-thirds black man is going to make them 100% human if you marry into white, then we got a problem. We got a big problem. And the girls don't know who their heritage is. The girls don't tell the babies who their daddies is, because their moms didn't like whoever they were with. And that was for a reason. So you keep doing what you're doing, Michael. Your arrogance is a bliss, okay? Your mom did right by you by letting you go to law school, by pushing you when you didn't even want, because you would probably be a radical at heart. But a radical with a law degree is a beautiful person.
Amen. You know what they say, the most dangerous black man is a black man with an education. Because had it not been for that, and I'm so glad I was not of age during the height of the Black Panther Party, because I would have joined and I would have done something stupid. I want to be clear. I'm not saying the Black Panthers did anything stupid, but, there was the COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program, where they got these undercover agents to come into the Black Panther Party and tell them to pick up guns. And I would have been so angry, I would have fell for the okie doke, and I'd have picked up a gun, and I'd be in prison today or dead.
There you go, Michael.
So, well said, Joyce.
You stay on point, and blessings to you and your family. And, you keep making them little simple white people happy, because the more they are angry because you got a degree, we're going to push our black men, black girls, because my granddaughter wants to be a lawyer. And she listens to you, and she said something, and she said, I got to be like him. I got to be, because we got to advance one another. And I thank you for stripping back and picking blessed day.
Very well said. Thank you very much. That was a great call from Joyce. We appreciate that. And once again, racist white folks, please keep emailing me. Please keep sending me letters. I didn't even know people still send letters to people in the mail anymore. I thought it was all phone calls and emails. But enough of that. We got to keep things moving. We got Matum in New Jersey waiting patiently. Matum, how can we help you, or how can you help us?
Hey, peace. It's a long time, my brother. It's about 5 years, 14. I've been sending you documents and trying to reach you, but I know you don't have a lot of time, and there are 4 issues, three I wanted to touch. That was the
And could you turn your radio down if you have it up, because we're getting feedback. We're getting echoes and feedback. So if you got your radio up, please turn it down.
Hello?
I was saying we're getting echoes and feedback, so I thought maybe you had your radio volume up. If you do, please turn it down. Please continue.
Oh, okay. All right. One thing is serious. Back in 1976, country preacher Reverend Jackson said that communications is the mustard seed, like a black seed of black change. And since then, we have not really advanced. We still ain't got but 3 or 4 minutes or less to talk to each other on radio. And it's not even national. It's only local. Whereas other... You have 60 seconds remaining. They have all kinds of radio and TV outlets that they can use. And we are behind the 8 ball in that. After all these years, we still fighting for a few minutes on the phone. Youth violence. They took religion out the schools. They should have put morality and something about law, criminal law, in to take the place of that. Teach morality about... You have 30 seconds remaining. I got 30 seconds. They got steroids that these young youth are taking, drugs, all kinds of drugs. And you have these genocidal, or I call them gangicidal, individuals who care nothing about other black people. And a lot of them are not indigenous African Americans. They come from these foreign countries. And I'm going to get cut off. I'm going to try to bring this to you a little later on. Peace.
We appreciate your call. Matum from New Jersey. Obviously, if anybody knows what they know, then they know where he probably was during his call. And I got to tell you, I really appreciate the fact that under those restrictive circumstances, he would take the initiative to call. Now, I didn't agree with everything that he said, but because he's a black man who apparently has the interest of black people at heart, I want to give him as much time as I possibly can. So if you are still listening, Matum, whenever you call me back, whether it's even later during the show, and normally I don't encourage people. In fact, we don't really allow people to call twice during one show. But because Matum has the restrictions that he apparently has, I want him to call back either today or tomorrow, Tuesday, or on Wednesday. Because, again, I wasn't really feeling everything that I heard him say, but I do trust that he has the interests of black people at heart and is trying to move us forward. You know, when black people try to distinguish between Africans born in America and Africans born in Africa and Africans born in other places throughout the planet, I'm not feeling that. We're all the same. So, and again, I respect the brother, but I'm not feeling it. We're all the same. You're black no matter where you come from. You're black if you look black. And sometimes you're black even if you don't look black. So I don't want that division, but still I give Brother Matum the ability to say whatever he wants to say. In addition, he said something about we don't have or we didn't have any national radio stations, only local. Well, WRD has been around for more than a decade, and we're national. I mean, we're WRD 96.1 FM. We're WRD 900 AM, and we're WRD radio.com. Not only is that local and statewide and regional and national, but it's throughout the entire planet. So yeah, we do our thing. But Brother Matum, please, I hope you get a chance to call us back, because I love it when black men who have obstacles, who have restrictions, are able to get around those obstacles, get around those restrictions, and say what they need to say. Even if I don't agree with everything, I'm sure Brother Matum doesn't agree with everything I say. But we as black men are trying to move black people forward, and can't get any better than that. Those of you who want to join us, you can do that after the commercial break by dialing 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065, toll free, 866-361-0900. That's 866-361-0900. Now, I really don't want to go to our next caller right now because it's George in Center City, and I don't want to cut him off for a commercial break. I want to give George as much time as he needs. Again, just like Brother Matum, George and I don't agree with everything, but I truly believe George wants to move black people forward, just like everybody else who called. Lynn and Rashid and Fishman and Eugene and Maurice and certainly Joyce and everybody else. First to break, WURD 96.1 FM.
The Sweet Treat Hut is the highest rated juice bar in Philly, located on the corner of 50th and Thompson Streets, providing delicious, healthy vegan food, juices, and smoothies. Treat yourself to a cup of happiness. Call 215-877-1471.
Students, parents, teachers, guardians, 100 Black Men of Philadelphia is offering free mentoring programs this summer to help provide an alternative to the gun violence plaguing our city. Our programs build character, body, and mind of our boys 1st to 12th grade through paid high school internships, book clubs, fishing, physical fitness, and more. Register today at www.100blackmenphilly.org and click events or call 267-258-2900.
Join Nick Taliaferro Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. for a very special simulcast conversation on WURD and WVON Radio in Chicago. Hosted by WURD's own Nick Taliaferro and WVON's Matt McGill and Kimberly E. Goen on the impact of violence in Philadelphia and Chicago. That's Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com. Simulcast on WVON. Two of the only black-owned talk radio stations in the nation join forces for a powerful and timely conversation.
Reality check
With Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio
and WURDradio.com.
Yep, this is Reality Check, hosted by my good friend, the learned Charles Ellison. But Charles is taking a well-deserved break. In fact, he's probably not really taking a break. He's working as he always does, doing meticulous research. And he said, yo, Mike, I can't be in on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. What's your court schedule? I said, well, I got a couple of hearings, but they appear to be by Zoom, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, or afternoon hearings in the county. So I'm good from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So big shout out to Charles Ellison for allowing that, and certainly to the program and news director, Dee Patel, and we can't forget the CEO, Madam Sarah Lomax Reese, all for allowing me to sit in the big chair. And by the way, in the shameless plug, let me just say I do my thing on the radio courtroom every Sunday at WRD 96.1 FM. So every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., I host a show called The Radio Courtroom, where we kind of sort of focus on the law, but not really, because we also deal with cultural stuff and political stuff and historical stuff and current events. Before we get to George, let me just say this. Are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and arts organizations. If you go to the portal right now, and I do mean right now, while listening to the show, you will see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Her Foods, Always Best Care, WURD Radio, and more. Apply for a job today. Go to our livelihood website at WURD Works. That's WURDworks.com. And click jobs. Also, are you looking to hire diverse talent? Well, WURD has got you covered as well. We just launched a brand new job portal to help connect you with diverse talent in Philadelphia and beyond. If you would like to have your jobs featured on our job portal, give us a call at 215-425-7875. That's 215-425-7875. Or send us an email at sales@WURDradio.com. That's sales@WURDradio.com. WURDradio.com. Check out the job portal today on our livelihood website at WURDworks.com. That's WURDworks.com, and click jobs. Before we get to George, let me just say this. Many people will see me on Twitter like, Mike, I love the radio shows you do and your show, the Radio Courtroom, you sit in for other folks, but how come every time you pronounce the radio station, you say double U? Isn't it W? I'm like, no, it's W. In fact, if you look at the letter W comes from two U's put together. So you take one U, you attach it to another U, and you have two U's, or a double U. So it's not W, it's double U. That's the nerdy grammatical English lesson of today from yours truly, Michael Cord Esquire, who graduated with an English degree from historic Cheney University. Those of you who want to get in to talk about a bunch of stuff, like I said, I want to talk about my possible black boycott against white businesses, the article I wrote in the Tribune. We're going to get to that. I'm going to talk about the real deal in the Cosby case, that the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania did a good thing for a bad man. I want to talk about the critical race theory. That's this concept of teaching students, law school students and some college students, about how the law today is based on a racist premise. And a lot of racist white folks hate that. But I'll be teaching a course about that at Temple University in the fall. I want to talk more about that. And I got to talk to you about Negro League Baseball, because this coming Wednesday, just 2 days from now, it'll be July 14, 2021, which means exactly 134 years ago, white folks officially banned black folks from pro baseball. Yeah, black people were playing with and against white people during slavery. People don't know that. It wasn't until 1887 that black folks were finally banned. Having said that, let's get to the callers. 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065, toll free, 866-361-0900. Once again, 866-361-0900. Those are the topics I want to get to: the black boycott, Bill Cosby, critical race theory, and Negro Leagues baseball. But more than that, number one on my list, callers, comments, and questions about anything. You are the co-host. Go ahead, do your thing. Next up, waiting patiently, George in Center City. George, what's up today?
Fine, Mike. Fine, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Good hearing from you. Take your time.
You know, it's real interesting that you call yourself the angriest black man. And when you sit around white lawyers, like on Sunday, every Sunday there's a group of people who meet. I mean, the real shot callers in the state of Pennsylvania. For some reason, every Sunday it's about maybe 5 or 6 of them meet in different places. But the most interesting thing they were saying, not only this Sunday, but previous Sundays, when people want to go in there and take over a country, what is the first thing they imply on a person or put on it? I'll tell you what it is. It's religion. They implant and instill their religion, their thoughts, and their beliefs on you to get you to believe and start thinking like they're doing.
In fact, George, you're absolutely correct, George. Even Bishop Tutu, a Christian pastor in South Africa, he said that originally black folks had the land and white folks had the Bible. By the time everything was flipped, it was black folks having the Bibles and white folks having all their lands. But please continue. So you're right. Religion is the first step toward oppressing a people. Historically, that's how it's been.
And that's what's happening. That's what's happening here in Philadelphia. If you just pay attention and stop sitting there trying to bite George's back out, which I love, you know, because when they get on social, I will never use social media. But every time they blow me up on social media, the famous question somebody asks them, well, what he's saying, is it wrong? I mean, is he right? They never answer that. In fact,
George, I'm not going to interrupt you again, George, but your name came up on Sunday on my show after you said something. And I was telling people, look, I don't really like it when you call in and mention somebody's name who can't defend himself. Just take it to that person individually. So, yeah, you are obviously pretty popular because your name comes up even when you're not around. Keep going, George.
And the thing is, that the answer is, it's always a wise person to try to say, well, is he wrong? I mean, is he lying? Everything I say is a matter of public information. I do what they see. Those are the ones who don't know that. They still think it's against the law for black people to know how to read. So I'm one. I can read, you know. So take it any way you want. But you have a group in Philadelphia, a group of these I call them extortioners, I call them death hustlers, and I call them pimps. It's a religious group in this city who's getting Negroes to start following them, and they're doing it. They have found themselves a few black preachers that, following that path, doing what Mr. Charlie tell them, go and tell them this, and they have lucked up and got a couple elected officials, which is sorry, that's doing black people in. Ask yourself when they're at the table, and I always say it, like, be careful who you have at the table negotiating for you and speaking to you. Because so far, these people who are at the table speaking for black people, saying that they want them to get this and that, they've said that they was going to get you $15 an hour. Have you got it yet? And you're not going to get it, okay? It don't work that way because city and state is, well, really, if it passed, the city would have to only one that have to obligate to pay somebody $15 an hour, and everybody who works for the city makes more than $15 an hour, so it doesn't matter. All you have to do is use your head for something besides a hair hole, and you'll get past it. Let me move on, Mike. It's enough of those pimps, hustlers, and death hustlers and extortioners. They're everything, and if they want to prove, if they want to go with it, I'll put their business out on the street every day. Y'all talk about their financial reports. I'll talk about the money that the city gives them, all this stuff here, and they get more money from the Archdiocese and Jazz than anybody else. And they only been around, this group has only been around like the last 5 or 6 years, and they sitting up here hustling the black community, and the black community got their head so far up their butt that either way they turn, they'll break their neck. But, keep following those preachers, and you're going to get what you get. You can't keep going to the circus and thinking that their prize is going to be different. It's not. Mike, Sunday they also brought up the thing about the violence. It's only going to get worse, Mike. It ain't going to get better. It's going to get worse. Some of your friends who are prominent white lawyers say, funny thing about it, Michael Gordon really put an end to a lot of this bullshit. Money's not going to solve the problem. They keep talking about the NRA. NRA don't have nothing to do with ghost guns because they don't make any money on it. And they keep talking about making new gun laws. You don't need no new gun laws. For what? That's for law-abiding citizens. Who's going to go kill somebody or rob somebody who's going to abuse a legal gun?
Let me ask you this, George, very quickly. What about, I talked earlier in the show, I don't know if you heard it, but I have a client, and we had to work out a deal with the feds because they had overwhelming evidence against us, purchased 37 guns in 6 days, and then sold them for a profit on the street. What about federal laws that would restrict the number of guns that one person can buy over a certain period of times? Nobody should be able to buy 37 guns in a 6-day period. Nobody.
No, but Mike, you have greedy people.
But I'm saying, George, and I'll give you a chance to respond, but what if there were laws that would have blocked those gun shops from selling those guns to that guy? Once he produced his ID, they'd be like, hey, Joe Blow, you just bought 6 guns yesterday. You just bought 17 guns the other day. He would have been stopped at the cash register. What about a law to prohibit that?
You know what, Mike? You want to change the rules, that's what you do. If you want something stopped, it's called rules. He got those many guns because the law permitted him to get them. Now, should he have gotten them? No. Point is, he's going to beat the case. The feds picked it up, so he'll plead out because they'll say we're going to give you 480 months. Take the 120, take the 40. You go to trial, we're going to give you 480.
And his homie snitched on him. So they had videotape, photographs, and his homie snitched.
Listen, Mike, that's the way it goes. All those guys talking that tough Tony stuff, and this and that, they ain't going to do this here. You know what? The first thing they do is start asking about their mom. Mom, come here. Mom, you haven't talked to your mom in 10 years. All the time call your mom. But, Mike, this is what I'm talking about. If they don't get a hold of this money, right now there's no consequences. All these death hustlers, all these interested, those preachers down there, they got a lot of nerve to be sitting up there arguing about $100 and something billion, what they want. They ain't getting a dime, okay? Let me school them on how this money game works. You're not getting no money because that money you should have been arguing about last year, okay? You wait till the money is already here. That money is going to the Archdiocese and Jazz, period. That money's already allocated. If you look in the budget, and then they got these dumb, stupid elected officials who keep pimping them. They pimping each other, the pimp pimping the pimp. And they keep up there telling these way out stories. But, it's this white lady that called last week on your show, Mike, And she said the same exact things that I've been saying all along. But they believe her. You can't kiss up to an elected official because you're their boss. They work for you. You don't work for them. Because the more you kiss up to them, the less you get. That's a white woman telling these crazy idiots who always think that they're supposed to kiss up to these elected. If you had any idea, Mike, how they feel about these callers that be kissing up to them, I mean, some of them are so bold, they'd be like, I don't know why they're sitting up there doing. I don't need them. I'm going to get reelected anyway. And sometimes they're right. So stop all this here. Don't hate on me, and don't talk about me. Talk about your elected official that you don't get anything from. We talked about Kensington one time, Mike, and they had Maria Sanchez on there. And we brought up the Archdiocese of Jess, right? Prince asked her those questions. She shut it down so quick, didn't say nothing else the whole half an hour about anything in Kensington. If you want to clean up Kensington, you have to go through the Archdiocese, which nobody's going to talk about. They're not going to talk about Jazz, which is a Jewish organization. Black folks are taught and trained. If you're going to talk about something, don't talk about those two organizations. You can talk about black folks, but you better not talk about them. But the moment I talk about them, well, you shouldn't be talking about those. But I only talk about what I know. And they're not going to say anything to me because the next thing they know, I'll be putting them in check. It's all about knowing how to go and get public information. It's called under the American Freedom of Information. You want to know something? Ask your phone, idiot. Ask your phone. You think I'm lying? Ask your phone. Anything you want to know, ask your phone. And you'll find out I'm not lying. You see, some of those butt kissers stop calling up here because they wives and they husbands and told them, you know, he is right. I mean, you should stop that and be a man, or you should be a woman sometime. You know, stop all that always praising these people and acting like that and you don't get anything. Mike, have a good one, okay?
Hey, George, thanks for the call. We appreciate that. We appreciate the call from George. We appreciate the call from Gary, from Lynn, Rashid, from Fishman, from Eugene, from Maurice, from everybody who dialed 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065, toll free, 866-361-0900, 866-361-0900. And we will, after the commercial break, get to Patty in Frankfurt, but we don't want to interrupt Patty, so let me just say a few words now, then we're going to take our quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Patty and everybody else who dialed 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065, toll free, 866-361-0900. Once again, 866-361-0900. In the next 60 seconds, let me just say this to you all, maybe 120 seconds. You ought to write this down. Every time I sit in for a host during the week, because all the hosts during the week, they got really popular shows, every time I sit in, I always make sure that I talk about something called the help list. The help list is something that every listener of WRD must get his, her, or their hands on. Now, that's the short name of this document, the help list. The longer name is the free, legal, government, and private services resource list. That's the free, legal, government, and private services resource list, but that's a mouthful. So let's just call it what it is, the help list. What does the help list do? It helps you do a bunch of things. One, what if you're getting harassing telephone calls from bill collectors? They're calling your cell phone. They're calling your landline. They're calling your job. They're calling your friends. Well, this help list gives you 3 simple and easy steps to stop telephone harassment by bill collectors. And check this out. If you follow these steps and they continue to harass you, they could have to pay you each time they call you. Think about that. So one thing the help list does, it stops bill collectors from harassing you by phone. You want to know how to do that? Get the help list. What else does the help list do? What if you are a consumer? That means you paid for a product or you paid for services and you didn't get what you paid for and you want your money back or you want a different product or a different service. Well, there's a group of pro bono state attorneys that will represent you free of charge. All that information is on the help list. What if you got a problem concerning unemployment compensation? Get the help list. What if you've been a victim of racial or religious or sexual discrimination? Get the help list. What if you got a Medicare problem, a predatory lending problem? What if you're a senior citizen and you want free, high-quality legal representation? What if you or your son or daughter or grandson or granddaughter or niece or nephew have a problem in school and need to know what their rights are? There's something called the Education Law Center. What if you or someone you love is disabled? There's something called the Education Law Center. I got so much to tell you about this help list, but I got to tell you when we come back. First, a break. WURD 96.1 FM.
Berger Montague is a Philadelphia-based plaintiffs' class action law firm committed to helping Philadelphia's black community. Berger Montague maintains a strong commitment to fostering diversity and equity throughout the legal community and in society in general. In 2020, Berger Montague filed a pro bono case against the IRS when they refused to send COVID-19 stimulus checks to federal benefits recipients with dependent children. Thanks to Berger Montague, people across the United States were able to obtain dependent benefit checks that they desperately needed. Berger Montague supports WURD Radio and Philadelphia's black community. For more information about Berger Montague Law Firm, please call 215-875-3033 or email at info@bm.net.
WURD Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey. Brought to you by Comcast.
Email phishing scams are nothing new, but they get more convincing and sophisticated every day. In the past, you'd get fake emails that seemed to come from your bank or credit card company, but now you could also see messages that appear to come from Amazon, PayPal, or Netflix as well. So how can you spot a scam? Look for misspellings or grammar errors in the email message. Most phishing scams try to scare you with a sense of urgency in the message that tries to get you to click on a link or provide account information. And one of the biggest telltale signs of a phishing scam is the email address of the sender. Pay close attention to where the email came from. A scam email address is usually totally unrelated to the company it's claiming to represent. Remember, a legitimate company will never send an email asking you for sensitive personal information, so if you're unsure, call the company directly and never click any links or open any attachments in the message. Stay safe online, stay tuned to WURD for more tips, and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
The Black Words Book Club. WURD Radio's conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The Black Words book for July is White Evangelical Racism, The Politics of Morality in America by Penn's Dr. Anthea Butler. Be sure to listen live as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, Tuesday, July 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio and wordradio.com.
The man is correct. This is Reality Check with Charles Ellison, but thanks to Charles, yours truly, Attorney Michael Cord, a.k.a. Michael X, a.k.a. the angriest black man in America, is sitting in the big chair today from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I got a lot to share with you. We're going to get to Patty in Frankfurt in just a few seconds. But let me just finish with this help list. I already told you what it does. 1, it stops bill collectors from harassing you by phone. 2, it gets you free legal representation if you paid for a product or a service but didn't get what you paid for. 3, if you've got unemployment compensation issues, it can help you. If you're a victim of racial or religious or sexual discrimination, it can help you. What if you got a Medicare issue? Yep, the help list can assist with that. Predatory lending. What if you're a senior who needs assistance? What if you got a child or yourself having issues regarding your school? There's something called the Education Law Center that can assist you. What if you're disabled or a loved one is and you need assistance from attorneys specializing in the rights of the disabled? What if you're indigent? Indigent is a technical legal term which just means you can't afford to pay an attorney. Well, the Philadelphia Bar Association has some major law firms. I mean, they normally charge $750 to $1,000 an hour, but they have volunteered, many of them, to take 2 or 3 cases a year for free, pro bono. you could be represented by them. That's on the help list. What if you've been a victim of a civil rights violation? Yep, the help list can assist you there. What if you need to get a lawyer, a black one, but you don't know where to look? Well, when Mr. Charles Bowser, my mentor, was alive, we had something called the Charles Bowser Law Referral Service. But when he passed away in 2010, we renamed it to the Black Lawyer Referral Service. You want that info? Get the help list. What if your identification has been stolen? What if you got parking ticket issues? Well, I tell you who to contact, including me, because I hate the parking authority. My mission in life is to destroy the parking authority. And if you want more information about that, get the help list. What if you got problems with your bank? They're charging you excessive fees that they shouldn't be charging. What if you need help from a city agency, but you don't know which one? You don't know the phone number, the name, the email. Well, the help list can help you with that. What if you get these telemarketers calling you, trying to sell you stuff like these auto warranties? Well, you can stop that. What if you get these constant barrage of junk mail and you want to stop that junk mail from coming to your mailbox? Well, the help list can help you with that. What if you got a problem with your computer, with your desktop, your laptop, with your iPad, with your mouse, with your email, with your internet, anything concerning a computer? There's a group called the John Davis Community Computer Services, and the John Davis Community Computer Services, they're friends of WRD. They're such friends that if you call them and say, I'm a WRD listener, specifically Michael Cord or any other host at WRD, John Davis will assist you free over the phone to walk you through your computer problem. Now, how do you get this help list? Very simple. One of two ways. The fastest way is to email me, and I'll get it to you. One of my assistants, volunteers, will get it to you. But email me at michaelcordx@gmail.com. That's Michael Cordx, MichaelCoard, the letter X, as in Malcolm X. That's Michael Cordx@gmail.com, and say, yo, Mike, I need that help list. Or call my attack organization. That's ATAC, Avenging the Ancestors Coalition, ATAC, attack. Contact us at 215-552-8751, 215-552-8751. That's the help list. Let's go back to the phone lines. The numbers again, 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065, toll free, 866-361-0900, 866-361-0900. Next up from Frankfurt is Patty. Patty, how can we help you, or how can you help us?
Thank you, Mr. Cord. I've been listening for a while to the WURD radio program. I've had the radio on in my bathroom all the time because my husband, he taught me through the example of the black community. I was in the convent. It's interesting that the person was just talking about the archdiocese. When I met my husband, I was just leaving 11 years of monastic life in Europe. When I met him, I was 39 and he was 57, a black man from Norfolk, Virginia. Now, I've been challenged to grow up, in a sense, grow up within the black community because I was ignorant of it. He taught me what I know. He taught our children. But at the same time, my family, because I embraced him as my husband and learned from God to obey your husband, my family rejected me to the homeless shelter. So imagine living within the same city where you were born and raised, and your family owns homes with apartments, and you know that you're not welcome in them. So when I learned from God how sensitive relationships were that required prayer, because within the community that we live in, there's so many races, so much multicultural intertwining that we have to stand in awe and not judge. So I fear sometimes when I hear words of hate that we must speak the knowledge that we have, and it's so important that I learn to grow in that knowledge. But one thing more that had to be put to my plate was the understanding, and continuing to pray for the understanding that goes with that knowledge so that we don't hate on one another. And I still stand there unaccepted by my white community and the entire, I'm saying I'm not Catholic anymore, by the entire community, so that I have ventured into other communities and yet find that my voice is still not accepted because of the difficulty of bridging those gaps within our culture. So I embrace the work that you do, and I just request sometimes that the language, it scares me sometimes that we provoke it by our language. And I know that I've provoked it in my own relationships, because I thought poverty was great when I was in the convent. So when I met my husband and I told my sister he lives in his car, she was fearful. I was not, because I don't fear poverty. What I fear is hate. So thank you very much for listening to me. And
Well, let me
have a comment I listened to.
Well, let me say this, Patty, thank you very much for calling. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate even more you calling. Please don't be a stranger. Give us a call anytime to express your well thought out position. Thank you very much. And that was Patty in Frankfurt, who has an interesting story, a very interesting story. And we welcome everybody calling in. And we thank everybody who called in, not just Patty, but we also had Gary and Lynn and Rashid and Fishman and Eugene and Maurice and George and Matum and Joyce and everybody else who dialed 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900. Once again, 866-361-0900. Next up, South Philly, Lamont. Lamont, how can we help you, or how can you help us?
Good afternoon, Michael X.
Thank you very well. First of all, I appreciate you saying the whole thing, Michael X. I love it. That sounds beautiful when folks say it, so thank you very much. Lamont, what's up with you today? How can we help you, or how can you help us?
Let's just say I'm a former student of yours, and
okay.
I had the, should I say, I don't call it a pleasure. I talked to a councilman this weekend, and you know how we've been up in arms over gun violence and
yes, sir,
the police lack of equipment. This councilman said, I did not vote for the police to have tasers. I jumped up. I said, you didn't do what? And I said, you must be living in a different world, because when police approach black young men or old black men, they pull a gun out first. He said to me that pulling the gun out is a mindset. So I said, let's look at who patrols North and South Philly in primary areas where people look like me. They do not look like me. They don't care about me. So how do you change the mindset of someone who enslaved my ancestors, who enjoyed unjustified enrichment to this day? How do you change the mindset of someone like that? And then, and for a while, I was so appalled that I had to tell him, I've lived in this world for 63 years. You might not have been born when we had Cecil B. Moore and Ethel Allen. The real people, in the end, I had to tell him that City Council, the members here now, have no courage or convictions to challenge anything. I didn't hear from him when the police were running rampant. You don't hear anything from him. I talked about summer jobs for children. He brought up PYE and talked about how children prefer retail versus city jobs. And I had to explain to him, who wants to wait forever to find out if they have a job? When you in need, you take the job that's available. And he intimated to me that I asked him, what can he do about it? He said, well, if I was going to do anything, I'd start with the prisons to try to get more prison guards. If you can do it for them, why can't you do it for children? I came through when model cities was around, when people were cleaning alleys and lots. This was during the gang war era, when you had people working so hard during the summer that at night they didn't have time to get out and gang war. But this is our council person and then I asked the question, with 10 districts, why do we need 17 council people? He said, well, it only costs $1.5 million for us. I said, well, if we cut out 7, we have at least $700,000 to put somewhere else. Then Then I asked him, can you defend, in the Home Rule Charter, most people get suspended without pay. How is it that we have two council people sitting up there passing resolutions, which I don't even want to get into, because resolutions mean nothing with all the things that are going on in our city. Justify the two people sitting up there. He told me he read the 30-page indictment, only saw one page for one person.
And we got about 30 seconds left.
I asked him, does he know the law? He said, no. I said, then you don't know what the indictment really stating, aren't you?
Okay.
So, but this is a council person who wants to run, who'll be running soon. But I'll be the one out there discouraging people and telling them the story that this has to stop. It's time we grow up. Stop bowing down to these people. They work for us.
Woo.
But that's
I
it,
agree,
Mike
man.
Rex. That's it. You taught me that in class.
Well, I got to tell you, you probably got an A in my class because the way you just broke it down was quite impressive. We appreciate that call from you, Lamont in South Philly. And please, please, please continue to be a caller, not just a listener, but a caller here at WRD by dialing 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900. Let's keep things moving. Folks, you all on a roll. Y'all are doing the right thing, saying the right thing, and we really appreciate it. We got to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. WURD 96.1 FM.
Are you an educator looking for a life-changing opportunity? Youth Build Philly Charter School might be the home for you. Apply to Youth Build to join a family of educators dedicated to learning and growing with young people. Check out current opportunities at youthbuildphilly.org or follow them on social media at YouthBuildPHL. Join Youth Build today. Youth Build is now accepting applications for the class of 2021.
Hey WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
Join WURD for our second annual Neighborhood Love Tour. This year we celebrate West Oak Lane, Mantua, North, West, and South Philly. I'm Tiffany Bacon. I'm going to broadcast live from a different neighborhood each Friday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. The tour kicks off on Friday, July 16th at the Cobbs Creek Recreation Center, 2800 Cobbs Creek Parkway. Enjoy live performances, meet special guests, and stand with WURD. Be a part of the movement to amplify the voice of the Black community. Show your support and join or renew your 4WURD membership on site. That's the Neighborhood Love Tour beginning Friday, July 16th at the Cobbs Creek Recreation Center from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. WURD, showing love this summer.
The WURD Radio Neighborhood Love Tour is sponsored by Comcast and supported by Pico, Keystone First, and Ready Set Philly. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent Black Media. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
That is absolutely correct. This is Reality Check, hosted by Charles Ellison. But Charles is away on a well-deserved break, but not really, because he's always doing meticulous research. He said, yo, Mike, I can't be in on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. That's July 12, July 13, July 14. Can you sit in for me? I'm like, let me check my court schedule. Yep, looks like I can. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. By the way, folks, I still got a lot of other stuff I need to squeeze in. But you all are first because you dialed 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Or you dialed 361-0900. 866-361-0900. Just like Johnny did. That's why we're going to Johnny. Johnny, how can we help you, or how can you help us?
Oh, beautiful, Mike. I'm a first-time caller, long-time
listener. Oh, take your time, Johnny. Take your time. We appreciate everybody, especially first-timers. Take your time.
Man, you are the bomb, the best, the whole 9 yards. I love to hear how you break it down in more ways than one. I really appreciate you in more ways than one. But listen, I'm going to be brief. Mike, you talking about the young lady out of White Marsh, the one that fought the good fight out there?
Yes. Yeah.
Us little folks that took out a few times. I wanted to know her name and the number on her, if you could give that, because I like how she fought.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we got a guest coming up, but after the guest does his thing, what I'll do is I'll state the woman's name, the work that she's done, and why that work's not only important to you, Johnny, and to me, Michael Lex, but in terms of Black history in and around Philadelphia. She did some great work in connection with the Underground Railroad, all that kind of stuff. We don't have time to discuss it now, but I will do that after the break, after the interview, I mean. So please keep your dial locked. In about 15 minutes or so, everybody would know exactly what Johnny and I are talking about. Johnny, thanks for calling, man, but don't be a stranger. Please call back. Call back during the week. Call back on the weekends when I'm on Sundays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you for listening, Johnny, but more important, thank you for calling. Great call from a great person. I don't know Johnny, but you called WRD and you ask about Black history. You're a great person. Next up, another great person, my good friend, my great friend, Ronald Crawford. You want to know who Ron Crawford is? Just imagine somebody who's not only an author, but also an instructor, in addition, a mental health professional, in addition, a hip-hop scholar, all wrapped up in one. In fact, he's so scholarly regarding his hip-hop/mental health thing that when I first started teaching undergraduate students at Temple University, the first book that I ordered my students to get as a signed reading was a book written by him. Without further ado, my good friend and many of yours, because everybody knows him, Ron Crawford. Ron, how are you today? And Ronald Crawford, can you hear us?
Can you hear me, Mike?
Heard something. Now we finally can. Yep, we can hear you loud and clear now. First of all, man, how are you and how have you been?
I'm good, Mike. Thanks for asking me and thanks for having me on today.
Hey, man, my pleasure. And the reason why I wanted you on is because I know that you teach a PASEP course. And for those who don't know, that's a program at Temple University, PASCEP, the Pan-African Studies Community Education Program, founded in the 60s in order to mandate that Temple University give back to the North Philly hood. And it has grown increasingly since the 60s. And now you got people like Ronald Crawford, as I pointed out, a published author, an instructor at PASEP, a hip-hop scholar, mental health, all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to have him on because it's my understanding that his course starts very soon. But Ron, before you tell us about the course and about your books and all that, I want people to know that you know what you're talking about and didn't just Google some stuff last night. Tell us a little bit about your background and your work. Take about a minute and a half filling in the blanks about who you are and what you do.
Sure, Mike, thanks. I'm Ron Crawford. I was born and raised in North Philadelphia. And in 2000, I earned a Master's of Human Service degree that allowed me to provide therapy services for communities of color. My specialty is cultural relevance because I integrate an analysis of hip-hop culture into my therapeutic approach, and that allows me to engage people who are traditionally resistant to hip-hop. I work with a lot of members of the hip-hop culture, and they are members of the hip-hop culture because they express their identities through hip-hop culture. And what I mean is that their language, their values, their taste in music, clothing, and their choice of drugs to use is influenced by hip-hop culture. So it just makes sense integrating hip-hop into my therapeutic approach, which is why it wasn't a stretch for me to integrate an analysis of hip-hop culture into education with the hip-hop therapy class that I'll be teaching in Temple's PASSEP program starting tomorrow.
You know, I want to talk a little bit more about that hip-hop therapy class. But before I get to that, and by the way, thank you for spending less than 73 seconds breaking down to folks all that you do. Because sometimes I ask people that they're going for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes. I got to cut them off. But you got right to it, so we really appreciate that. But, Ron, what do you say to people say, man, this guy was impressive, Ron Crawford, when I heard he was an author and an instructor and into mental health and got his master's at Lincoln University. But he talking that hip-hop stuff. Isn't that violent stuff where black people talk about shooting each other and selling drugs? What does it have to do with therapy? In fact, isn't that anti-therapy because it promotes violence? What's your response to that?
Well, I agree that there are hip-hop songs with negative imagery that promotes misogyny, drug use, drug dealing, and violence. But I also understand that there's a host of hip-hop music that promotes healing, promotes activism. It's just that those songs aren't promoted as much as the negative songs, and that's a whole different reason. But I want to mention this real quick. Give me about a few seconds.
Yeah, go ahead.
You did an excellent job describing the PASSEP program. But as, humble as you are, you didn't mention the part that you played in it. And I just want to quickly bring up that since 1999, the PASSEP program has supported hip-hop education with the Hip Hop 101 program that you started. And some of the more legendary guests that you had at that program included Lady B, Chuck D, KRS-One.
Yes, sir.
I forgot the gentleman's name from The Last Poet.
Umar bin Hassan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
You had Immortal Technique come in. And all I did as a participant in some of those classes was to receive the baton that was passed to me and cultivate a relationship with Temple and just keep it going. I just put my therapeutic spin on it. That's all. But I just wanted to let people know that I'm following in your footsteps and trying to carry on tradition of hip-hop and education.
I really appreciate that. And before I forget, because you did say classes start tomorrow, is it too late for folks to sign up to register? If it's not, how do they sign up? How do they register? Where will the classes be held? What time? All that stuff.
Okay, the classes start tomorrow, Tuesday, July 13th, and they end Tuesday, August the 24th. The classes are each Tuesday from 6:30 p.m. to 8 o'clock, and they'll be at Temple University, 11th and Berks, the computer lab across from the Montgomery parking garage. If you want to register, there's a $30 registration fee, but a limited number of scholarships will be given to people who can't afford the $30. You can register by either calling 215-204-1993, or you can email noncredit.temple.edu/PASSEP, PASCEP.
And I appreciate you giving that email. That's important, but, you know, a lot of folks get confused, so I'm so glad you mentioned that phone number at first, 215-204-1993, because that way they can talk to somebody, get more information. So I really appreciate you breaking that down. So walk us through the process. What should somebody expect in enrolling in your course? What should they expect to get out of it?
Well, one of the things that we do, we look at, we talk about our experiences of violence. The thing this semester is, can hip-hop culture and rap music be blamed for urban violence? Because you're right. A lot of times people listen to some of the lyrics in some hip-hop songs, and because they promote violence, they automatically assume that this music causes people to behave violently. And we're not saying that that's true or not, but what we do, we provide a space for people to just talk about their feelings about rap music, their experience of violence, and the role that rap music plays in it. We also allow people safe spaces to share about their experiences of violence and learn about how hip-hop can be used to help people heal and recover from the trauma that's been caused by the violence that they've experienced.
You know, Ron, I'm so glad, you know, and I'm inclined at this point to call you Professor Dr. Ronald Crawford, based on what you do at Temple University and your ties to Lincoln University. But let me just say this. I really appreciate the way you just broke it down because, and I want you to elaborate upon what I'm about to ask you. Not only do we have that misogyny and violence and all that in hip-hop, but we also have this self-hatred where especially young black men feel less than. And not only do they feel less than because of self-hatred, they also feel emotionally inadequate, that they want to reach out to somebody for love. But it's not gangster to show the weakness of needing love. So how do you approach the quote-unquote thug who you know needs a hug, but he's not going to ask for a hug?
Oh, that's a good question. One of the things that we do with any space that I'm a part of, we provide a safe space for men to get vulnerable. And peer support is the use of people who have gone through problems that you may be going through that can help you out. So I usually bring people who are in recovery from substance use disorder or from incarceration who can come to the group and share about being locked up for 20 years and crying because somebody in their family died, but being unable to really cry because while you're incarcerated, you can't cry in front of people.
Yes.
So when I have guys who aren't really afraid of a lot of physical stuff, sharing about how it's okay to express feelings and to cry, you know, that lets other people know that, hey, you know, he's talking about being afraid, but he's not a punk. You know what I mean? He's talking about, you know, being respected by his dad, and people still respect him. So that's one of the things that we do in any therapeutic space that I occupy.
That's some powerful, powerful stuff. We're speaking with Ron Crawford, as I pointed out at the outset, author and instructor and hip-hop scholar and mental health expert and anything you want to know about how to get your mind right and using hip-hop as a vehicle to do that. Ron, in our final 2 minutes, please repeat the date, the time, the location, the email, and the phone number for this course. And in our 30 seconds after that, 30 to 60 seconds, just share with us anything you think is important, something you might want to repeat, something you might want to add, something you might want to highlight. The microphone is yours. So again, first, how do folks get into the course? Where is it held? And two, any final words?
Sure. Thanks, Mike. The name of the class is Hip Hop Therapy, and it's part of Temple University's Pan-African Studies Community Education Program. And it will be meeting on Tuesday, starting tomorrow, July 13th. And it's going to be running for 7 Tuesdays, and the last Tuesday will be Tuesday, August the 24th. The time of the class will be from 6:30 to 8 p.m., and it will be held on the campus of Temple University at 11th and Burke Street in the computer lab across from the Montgomery parking garage. Registration is $30, but for people who want to participate and can't afford the registration fee, a limited number of scholarships will be given out. You can register by calling 215-204-1993 or by emailing noncredit.temple.edu/PASCEP.
We appreciate that, Ron, and I appreciate not only you giving that information, but also stating it as clearly and as slowly as you did, because I know folks really are interested. In our final 30 to 60 seconds, anything you want to add, repeat, or highlight, the microphone is yours.
Sure, Mike. One of the things you mentioned about the prevalence of violence in rap music, and my most recent book was free. It ain't being booked on paper. I discuss why those songs with the most negative imagery are all over the media. And that is because most of the media companies that own the radio stations that play these songs also invest in private prisons. And there's a plan, it seems like, to influence young people to engage in criminal behavior so that they can fill up these prisons. Because in order to have a private prison, you have to sign a contract that says it has to remain at 90% occupancy or you will pay a fine.
Ooh.
So when you wonder why the songs that promote mental healing, songs that G Herbo have made that talk about addressing PTSD, Jay-Z made talking about getting therapy, J. Cole talks about, when you wonder why those songs aren't played as much, understand that the people that own a lot of the stuff that's displayed through the media also invest in private prisons. If you want to reach me, you can email me at honestyhurts.crc@gmail.com. My number is 267-354-0812. And the book, What's Free, It Ain't Being Booked on Paper, can be purchased at Amazon. Thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate you as always.
Hey, Ron, thanks for doing such great work for the community and sharing it here at WRD, man. I would say good luck in your course beginning tomorrow, but you don't need no good luck. You're going to do what you do, man. Thank you very much.
One more thing, Mike, before I go.
Yeah.
I was talking to Miss Alicia, the director of the PASSET program.
Mm-hmm.
When I told her I was going to be on the show, she told me to give you her regards, and she knows how busy you are. But if you still want to do that virtual class, she got a spot for you.
Hey, man, thank you very much. And I'm going to reach out to her and follow up. Matter of fact, if you could text me her contact information, I'll reach out this afternoon.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Hey, Ron, thanks for that last-minute announcement. I appreciate that. And also thanks for your presentation today because folks need to know this stuff. Ron Crawford. And he gives out his phone number. I never give out my phone number. His number is 267-354-0812. That's 267-354-0812. And you can check out his books by emailing him at honestyhurts.crc@gmail.com. Let's go back to the phone lines. I hope we still got Barbara and still got Tiffany. Well, it looks like we got Barbara, not Tiffany. Let's go to West Philly and talk to Barbara. Barbara, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Michael. So
thank you very much for your patience.
So
go ahead.
I want to say first, thank you so much for being a mentor for Ant Brown. I mean, he is doing, you know, a wonderful job on his radio program and then just in the community, as you know. But again, thank you so much for that, and because that is so important, what you did. So the other thing is that I'd like to ask you about is, do you know anything about this shot spotter technology that they are using in Camden? Because I heard a caller on Bishop Royster's Friday evening program kind of talking about it. But are you familiar with it, and if it's in play here in Philly or not?
Not only do I not know what it is, I've never even heard of it. So share with the WRD audience what you know about it. I'll do some research and then talk intelligently about it tomorrow. But just let us know what you know about it.
Well, I'm not the one, really. That's why I was hoping that you do.
Well, I'll be happy to research. But tell me again, what
called in Friday night, and he mentioned it, and he said it's something that's happening in Camden, and you can pinpoint where the shot is coming from.
Now, you say it's called what? Shots or shooter technology? What's the term you used?
Shot spotter. I think that's right.
Okay.
Spotter.
All right. And it's in Camden?
And I think you can get it like shotspotter.com.
Okay.
And,
all right.
And then I put Camden in, and it comes up.
All right. I'll definitely look into it. Now, I remember a couple of years ago, I heard that there was talk about it in a few major cities, but it had never been developed and certainly not implemented. So I'll do the research to see if it has been implemented, and if so, where, including possibly Camden. So thank you very much. That's my homework assignment for this evening. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. That's Barbara in West Philly who provided us with some great information, and thanks to her, I'll be doing some research. Matter of fact, I'm not only writing it in red, but I'm using my yellow highlighter to make sure I complete my homework assignment. That way, when I come back on tomorrow, I'll be able to speak intelligently about this topic. Speaking of topics, as you know, folks, I was hoping to get and still might get to most of what I want to talk about, but it's not about me. It's about you, because I have 5 items on the agenda today. Number 1 is callers, comments, and questions about anything. So really, it's your show. That's number 1. Callers, comments, and questions about anything. You've all been calling in, and I appreciate that. And then we'll get to my topics. Number 2 is the possible black boycott of certain white businesses. I hope to be able to talk about that after our upcoming commercial break. In addition, I want to talk about Bill Cosby case, what happened and what didn't happen, and why, although he did what he was accused of, he still should have been found not guilty. In fact, he should not have been tried, even though he did what he was accused of. And more important than doing what he was accused of, he did what he admitted to doing. He said under oath he did it. But still, the case should have never gone to trial. It was a good Supreme Court decision for a bad man. In addition, I want to talk to you all about critical race theory. That's what a lot of white Republicans are really upset about. And I want to talk about Negro League Baseball. First, a break. WURD 96.1 FM.
Support small, black, and brown-owned businesses by joining the Diverse Procurement Collaborative, a community of business leaders committed to supplier diversity. Get engaged at chamberphl.com.
Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, and I have been using a wheelchair since my accident in 1995. I guess if I had one message for the general public, it would be that I appreciate your help. But please, ask first. I know you mean well, but I've actually got everything under control. And if I don't, I'll ask for assistance. People with disabilities just want the same respect and consideration as everyone else.
This is a message from United Spinal Association. Download our disability etiquette booklet at unitedspinal.org.
Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
Yep, this is Reality Check, hosted by Charles Ellison. Charles is not available today. He's taking a well-deserved break. In fact, he's probably out there researching, doing some stuff. So yours truly, Attorney Michael Cord, a.k.a. Michael X, a.k.a. the angriest black man in America, is here doing what he does, actually doing what I do. Today, Monday, July 12th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also, I'll be sitting in for Charles tomorrow, Tuesday, July 13, 2021, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then finally, Wednesday, July 14, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Those of you who want to join in conversation, you know the numbers. Well, you might not. So if you don't, 215-634-8065. 215-634-8065. Toll free, 866-361-0900. That's 866-361-0900. Let me try to get in a little bit about this issue. Well, by the way, folks, I checked my email during our commercial break-in. Folks are blowing up their request, actually blowing up my email line for this help list. And I'm glad, because I put this list together for you all. I want you to know how to stop bill collectors from harassing you. I want you to know that there are lawyers available to protect you as a consumer. I want you to know there are legal teams available regarding your unemployment compensation claims. I want you to know how you can file lawsuits for racial and religious and sexual discrimination. I want you to know about your legal rights concerning Medicare and predatory lending. I want you to know that as senior citizens, there's a group called the Senior Law Center that provides pro bono legal representation. I want you to know about the Education Law Center, the Disability Rights Network. I want you to know about the pro bono attorneys, high-powered attorneys who charge $750 to $1,000 an hour, and some of them agree to handle at least 3, 4, 5, 6 cases for free each year. I want to put you in touch with them. What if you've been a victim of civil rights violations? Yep, we can help you with that. What if you need a lawyer, a black lawyer? I can put you in touch with something called the Black lawyer referral service? What if your ID has been stolen or compromised? What if you want to battle the parking authority? What if you got some complaints against your bank? What if you need help from a city agency, but you don't know which one or you don't know the number? Well, we can help you with that. What if you want those telemarketers to stop trying to sell you stuff that you don't want, like those auto warranties that fill up everybody's voicemail? What about the junk mail that fills up your mailbox? How do you stop that? What if you got problems with your computer or your email or your internet or your mouse or your laptop or your tower or a virus on your computer system? Well, there's a good friend of mine has something called the John Davis Community Computer Services, and he provides free, I say it, free assistance when you call. Give him a call. He'll walk you through the problem, and he knows more about this stuff than anybody I've ever met. How do you get this help list? Very simple. First way is email me, michaelcoard@gmail.com, MichaelCoard, the letter X as in Malcolm X, michaelcoardx@gmail.com. Or you can call my attack organization, ATAC, Avenging the Ancestors Coalition. That number is 215-552-8751. And folks, we will get to all the callers, but I repeat, I gotta talk to you about this boycott stuff I'm working on. I write 2 columns for the Philadelphia Tribune. One of them is a weekly column, comes out every Sunday, called Freedom's Journal. And I talk about everything affecting black people. And I've been writing for the Tribune, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, something like that. And things went very well, so well, the Tribune said, hey, Mike, we love what you're doing with this weekly column, but we'd like you to write something else. And we know you're busy as a excuse me, as a trial lawyer and everything else you're doing on the radio, on your TV courtroom show, writing for the Tribune, all that kind of stuff. Writing every now and then for Philadelphia Magazine. So we don't want you to write a second weekly column, but maybe you can write a monthly column. And we'd like you to have it for the first Tuesday of each month. And we want it to be about black economics. So I say it to the Tribune editorial staff, say no more. You got it. So for the past 3 months, I've been writing something called Black Dollars Matter. And for this month, the article is entitled, White Businesses Must Put Up, Shut Up, or Get Shut Down. Give me 2 minutes and I'll get to the callers, but here's what I want to talk about regarding that. So I wrote this column and it starts like this. This is volume 3 of my monthly column entitled Black Dollars Matter. As I wrote in volume 1 back in May, although this column will light a fire under white businesses that treat black consumers with contemptuous disrespect, it is designed to ignite an inferno under blissfully ignorant blacks who finance that racism. Now, I don't mean to offend anybody by using the phrase blissfully ignorant, but it's actually the perfect term because as the dictionary defines it, it simply means not knowing or not wanting to know any of the unpleasant facts about something. Well, the facts are that many white businesses in Philadelphia refuse to treat black consumers with respect. White businesses that do racist business must be exposed, not rewarded. And black consumers who patronize racist businesses must be enlightened, not ridiculed. I hope I am able to expose and enlighten through these monthly Black Dollars Matter columns. And I went on to write an article. As I continue, the total population of Philly this year is about 1.6 million persons, with the 4th largest black population in the country. And that black population is about 44% of that 1.6 million, which means there are over 690,000 black folks in Philadelphia. I write in the article, despite that, many white businesses in Philly refuse to treat us with respect. But it's not just racism against black consumers at white businesses. It's also racism against black employment applicants at white businesses that refuse to hire blacks to entry-level jobs, refuse to promote blacks to supervisory and management positions, refuse to select blacks to corporate boards of directors, and refuse to name blacks as CEOs. By the way, when I say blacks, I obviously mean educated blacks, experienced blacks, and obviously qualified blacks. If you assumed I was talking about an unqualified black person, you're the problem. Correction, you're the racist. Then I go out. I'm not going to read the whole article now, but I just break it down and say, we need to find out who these businesses and companies and entities are that treat us with racist disrespect. And we need to organize a targeted, lawful boycott. So what I did was, and in organizing this targeted, lawful boycott, what I go on the article to say that, I say the following. We must metaphorically take a page out of the boycott book created by the fiery Cecil B. Moore Esquire and the relentless Reverend Leon H. Sullivan. But first, we got to determine the facts. We got to find out who's a friend that we should continue to patronize and who's a foe that we should boycott. So what I did was I tried to find some of the largest business entities in Philadelphia. And here's what I did. I said, I recently wrote to all of the city's largest employers, but didn't stop with that. Also wrote to the employers with the city's largest black consumer base, but I didn't stop with that. I also wrote to the employers situated in largely black neighborhoods in the city, and finally wrote to the employers profiting largely from black municipal taxpayer dollars here in the city. In addition, I reached out to law firms because law firms do a lot of business here in the city. And the local businesses and law firms that I recently wrote to include Acme Markets, Aramark, Bayada Home Healthcare, CVS, the City of Philadelphia, Comcast, Crown Holdings, Cozen and O'Connor Law Firm, Drexel University, Einstein Healthcare Network, Jefferson Health System, Marshall Dennehy Law Firm, Morgan Lewis and Bacchius Law Firm, Philadelphia Building and Construction Trades Council, SEPTA, Temple University, University of Penn, UPS, Urban Outfitters, and the Vanguard Group. And when I reached out to them, I posed 5 questions. And by the way, we're going to get to our callers in just about 30 seconds. Give me 60 seconds. Then we're going to get to folks who are waiting patiently, including Tyrone. So I sent the article with all the stuff, and I don't have time to go into it right now, but I sent the article to all those companies, all those entities, all those employment entities, business entities. I sent them the article, and this is what I wrote as a cover letter along with the article. I wrote, to whom it may concern, I write a monthly column at the Philadelphia Tribune entitled Black Dollars Matter, as well as an unrelated weekly column called Freedom's Journal. In this month's installment, which is hyperlinked below, I posed the following 5 questions to several Philadelphia area businesses. 1, how many employees do you have in Philadelphia? 2, of that total number of Philadelphia employees, what percentage is black? I'm not saying minority. I'm not saying women. I'm not saying people of color. I'm saying what percentage is black? Number 3, what is the employee breakdown in terms of white collar, blue collar, entry level, associate, supervisory, management, board member, and CEO? Number 4, what are the wage or salary ranges for each of the aforementioned categories? And finally, number 5, what kind of recruitment, diversity, equity, and inclusion program exclusively for applicants and employees who are black do you have? I respectfully request that the appropriate person at your business / company / entity respond to those questions via email within 14 calendar days, which is by July 22, 2021. So we'll find out who responds with great answers. We'll find out who responds with horrible answers, and we'll find out who refuses to respond at all. Good stuff here through the Philadelphia Tribune. And by the way, if you want to read the article yourself, there's 3 ways to do it. 1, you want to go to your local store and pick it up. But by the way, COVID has not left. COVID is still around. COVID is still killing people. So only go to the store and go outside when you really, really have to. And if you go out, make sure that one, you got both your shots, and two, that you're wearing a mask. So if you do that, you can go ahead and pick up the Philadelphia Tribune, get this past Sunday's column, and get this past, actually 2 weeks ago, Tuesday's column. So you want to get my Sunday column. I'll talk more about that. That's about Negro League Baseball. I'll talk more about that definitely later in the show. But you want to get the article that was written in the monthly Black Dollars Matter column. And that article that was written in that column, you want to go back to the first Tuesday of July, which would be July 6th. That's July 6th. And when you read that article, well, by the way, I'm not going to tell you about reading it because you'll read it yourself, but you want to make sure you get it. And how do you get it? One, go to the store, pick up the Tuesday Tribune from July the 6th. But make sure you got your shots and make sure you wear your mask. The second way of getting it, just go to Tribune's website. Go to phillytrib.com. That's Philly, Philly, trib, trib.com, phillytrib.com. Type in cord and then type in the headline of the article. You don't have to type in the whole thing. Just type in white businesses. The complete headline is white businesses must put up, shut up, or get shut down. Why should we pay people to be racist toward us? That's just stupid. So we want to find out who's being racist, and we're going to boycott those companies. So again, go to phillytrib.com, type in cord, C-O-A-R-D, type in the first few words of the headline, white businesses, and the article will come up. And then the third way, you can see it on social media by going to my social media pages on Instagram and Twitter. Just go to Michael Cord, MichaelCoard, and you will be able to read the article. Now remember, that's from my Black Dollars Matter column from Tuesday, July 6th. Later in the show today, but probably more like tomorrow, I'll talk about the article I have in this past Sunday's edition, and that would be yesterday, and that would be July 11th. And in that article, you'll be able to understand clearly the history of Negro Leagues baseball and why it's bigger than sports, why it's about the black economy. You can get that by reading this past yesterday's Tribune. I'm going to talk more about that a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow, but I'm really going to highlight on Wednesday, because Wednesday it'll be exactly 134 years to the very day that white folks on July 14, 1887, banned us from baseball. It wasn't until Jackie Robinson was signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers through their general manager, Branch Rickey, that blacks folk finally got back into baseball, because they were playing baseball with white folks before 1887, during slavery, in fact. But they were beating them so bad, white folks like, nah, we can't beat you using the rules, so we're going to change the rules, and we're not going to allow you to play. Now, no disrespect to Jackie Robinson, but for me, the approach should not have been for black folks to join with white folks, but the approach should have been black folks to expand Negro Leagues baseball. By the way, many of you don't know this, but the Negro Leagues All-Stars played the Major League All-Stars, which means the black All-Stars played the white All-Stars, I don't know, a dozen times or more. The black players beat the white players 66% of the time. That means almost 7 out of every 10 games, the black players beat the white players. I'll talk more about that on Wednesday. We've got to take a quick commercial break in about a minute, but let me just tell folks that when we come back, we're going to mention, or I'm going to mention a few things about Bill Cosby. I'm going to mention a few things about the course I'm teaching at Temple University to the undergraduate students beginning in the fall semester. And in that course, we're going to be focusing on critical race theory. And that really upsets a lot of white people, a lot of Republican white people, a lot of racist Republican white folks. And I love it. Just like I love the letter. And this white racist guy, James, Italian guy, I'm not going to tell you his last name, from Mount Ephraim, New Jersey, who sent me this horrifically racist letter. He doesn't understand it, but this is actually a love letter It's a love letter to me, because you know how when you get a love letter, you're happy, you're enthused, you're inspired, you're motivated. That's me. Letters like this inspire me to continue to do the stuff that needs to be done in order to get justice for my ancestors and justice for their descendants. Those of you who want to get in, you can try it right after the break. 215-634-8065. 215-634-8065. Toll free, 866-361-0900. That's 866-361-0900. We'll get everybody we can get to, but first the break. WURD 96.1 FM.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Hello, Philadelphia. Switching to Geico is a good idea, especially when you consider everything.
First off, Geico makes it easy to switch, and you can contact your local agent for personalized assistance.
But if it's so easy, you might start thinking everything is easy, even big wave surfing. And it's not. It's actually quite difficult.
Well, if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds on car insurance, and you could keep saving by bundling your motorcycle, boat, and RV, plus your home or renter's insurance.
But saving money might lead you to make some questionable purchases, like a 20-foot feather boa. And do you know how hard it is to clean a 20-foot feather boa?
Well, they do have an industry-leading mobile app you can use to pay your bill, file and manage a claim, or add a new driver.
But when life gets a little easier, it makes you too confident, and you start calling everyone Ace. And you're better than that.
Well, Geico has a 97% customer satisfaction rating and has been saving people money for 85 years. It's hard to beat that.
But you're right.
Switch to Geico. It's obviously a good idea.
Hey, WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
The man is right. You are listening to Reality Check, hosted by Charles Ellison, but Charles is not available today, taking a well-deserved break. In fact, doing the meticulous research he always does in preparation for his shows, he agreed to allow me, yours truly, attorney Michael Cord, a.k.a. Michael X, a.k.a. the angriest black man in America, to sit in the big chair today, Monday, July 12, tomorrow, Tuesday, July 13, and finally, Wednesday, July 14, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. each of those days. Let me just say this before we get to a few of the final callers, and I will make sure we set aside enough time to get to all of them. It looks like we lost Tyrone in North Philly. We'll try to get to him in a second if he calls us back. But let me just say this for the next few seconds. I did tell you that COVID has not gone anywhere. In fact, there's something called the Delta variant. That's a new strain of COVID. Imagine COVID on steroids. That's the Delta variant. And did you know that 99%, in fact, the stats say 99.7, but forget about 99.7. 99.7 equals 100. 99.7, which is really 100%, of all the COVID deaths recently have been of people who were not vaccinated. I'm going to repeat that. 99.7, which equals 100%, of the people who have died recently from COVID have been of people who were not vaccinated. As of today, 33.8 million Americans have contracted COVID. 33.8 million. Of that number, 606,000. That's over 600,000. Over 600,000 have died. That's for the United States of America. Let's go down to Pennsylvania, statewide. 1.22 million have died in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania alone. 1.22 million. Well, let me rephrase that. 1.22 million have contracted COVID. In other words, they caught COVID. That's 1.22 million in Pennsylvania alone were positive for COVID. 1.22 million. Of that 1.22 million, nearly 28,000 have died. In Pennsylvania alone, the exact number is 27,790 dead in Pennsylvania alone. You might say, well, Mike, that's statewide. That's 67 counties. What about Philly? It can't be that bad. Well, yeah, it is that bad in Philly. Why? Because 155,000 people in Philly have tested positive for COVID. 155,000 in Philly alone. Of that number, 3,769 died. 3,769 right here in Philly alone. And the Philly Department of Health, they have this guide to tell you what the risks are. The risk could be low, it could be moderate, it could be high. Here's what the Department of Health in Philly says. Quote, there is a high risk of community transmission of COVID. So COVID hasn't gone anywhere. In fact, with this Delta variant strain, it has gotten worse. And by the way, there's some people, some black people, I got to repeat, some black people who are spewing such foolishness, some black people who I respect, who should know better, spewing some garbage, and not just foolishness and garbage, but dangerous foolishness and garbage, because they're telling black people not to get the shot. That's the dumbest thing in the world. And I can prove to you that it's dumb. Think about it this way. When the vaccine became available, rich white people in Florida were stealing it through the governor. Let me repeat that. Rich white people in Florida were stealing the vaccine for their use in Florida. What does that tell you? If rich white people want something, damn it, poor black people better be in that same line. So that's one reason why you should get it, because rich white people in Florida were stealing it and jumping to the front of the line when the vaccine became available. Number two, you know how stupid the former president was, and his supporters, the maggots, they reject vaccination. So if stupid people around you say no to something, then you should say yes to something. Because the stupid maggots, the dump supporters, they reject the vaccine. And here's the third reason why you should get it. Every single black professional medical organization, every single black health professional organization embraces the vaccine. I'm talking about the National Medical Association, which consists of over 50,000 black doctors. They said, get it, and they got it themselves. The National Black Nurses Association, they said, get it, and they got the shots themselves. The Society of Black Academic Surgeons said, get it, and they got the shots themselves. The Association of Black Women Physicians said, get it, and they got the shots themselves. And right here in Philadelphia, Dr. Ayla Stanford of the Black Doctors COVID Consortium, they said, get it. So these stupid people, and I hate to call people stupid, but if there is a life raft available for you and you're drowning in the ocean, why would you not grab that life raft? And that's exactly what the COVID shot is. Nobody has died from a COVID injection, but people have died from not getting the COVID vaccinations. Just remember what I said, 3 main reasons. 1, rich white people were stealing it. 2, dumb Donald Dump supporters rejected. 3, all smart black health professional organizations embrace it. So folks, get it. Having said that, let's see if we can quickly, in our last few minutes, get to Born in Spring Garden. Born in Spring Garden, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Brother Mike. Good afternoon. And,
good hearing from you. How can we help you? How can you help us?
I want to commend you for what I call an intelligent operation that you're implementing, almost like a military operation, because you've identified businesses in our area that may be practicing racist acts toward us and identifying them so that we can take action against them. And it's great because I envision that resulting in opening up jobs for our people.
Yes. Yes.
They're going to respond positively because just like you say, white folks who are racist are suppressing our vote because they know something we don't know. That
yes.
works. Now,
yes.
a lot of us don't understand how boycotts work and how great potential success they will have, and they know it. And they're going to try to address this and nip it in the bud as soon as possible. But by you being such a wise man, and I understand those letters you sent out, being a lawyer, I know you gave it to them, and that's going to put fear in them. And they're praying and hoping that, hope this guy, Mike, this angry black man in America doesn't wake up the sleeping giant, because if he does, these folks are going to be outside our doors. This is going to spread like wildfire. It's going to go to other cities. Our corporations are going to have trouble nationwide. I see something great coming from this, brother, and I just wanted to commend you for that.
Born, we appreciate that. Thank you very much for listening, but more important, thanks for calling and encouraging activist behavior on behalf of black folks. Born, thank you very much. And our last caller today is Tyrone. I mistakenly thought that Tyrone hung up, but we had somebody named Tiffany who was on before Tyrone, and Tiffany hung up, but I thought it was Tyrone. In our final 1 minute, 2 minutes, we're going to turn it over to Tyrone in North Philly. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Hey, Brother X, thank you so much for taking this call, man, because, you know, I'm riding on the way to the burial ground of my nephew who was killed, you know, in a crossfire. And you know what? I had to call you, my brother, because the pastor said something which I thought was phenomenal. He said in the 22 years of the ministry that only 2 young people was killed in that congregation. And both of them was killed while they was coming home from work or going to work. And he also said, man, that what our young people are going through, they shouldn't be going through. And all the young people out there, because there's no Brother X, it was such a beautiful homegoing service to see all of these gifted, brilliant young brothers and sisters, all of them with their own church design. I mean, you know what? Our young people are just incredible. They're phenomenal. And these few who is just disrupting, destroying, and creating the hardship, the unnecessary hardship in our community, they got to understand. They got to understand, and they got to see. They got to see the beauty of who they are. And I just thank you for allowing me to share that. And to my brother Victor Jalen, thank you, man, for being one of the shiny lights in this life. If I'm having all them young folks to know who you are, and prayerfully, some of them, if not all of them, is going to follow in your footsteps. Being a great brother, a brother with integrity, a brother that always lit up your life. So thank you, Brother X, for allowing me to share that. Please, my brothers and sisters, let's make this right. Let's stop the killing and the hurting of one another. Y'all are too gifted. Y'all are too gifted. Y'all got
and Tyrone, we do have to run. We're up against the clock, Tyrone. We got to run. But thank you very much for your patience, and thank you for sharing your powerful words. When I say we got to run, we literally got to run. Big shout out to Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check, for allowing me to sit in today. I'll be back tomorrow from 10 to 1, and I'll be back on Wednesday from 10 to 1. I didn't get a chance to talk about all the stuff I wanted to. Tune in tomorrow. I'm going to get into the Bill Cosby case. Tune in tomorrow. I'm going to get into the critical race theory course I'm teaching at Temple University. And tomorrow, and especially Wednesday, I'll be talking about the history of Negro League Baseball and how black folks were banned from pro baseball on July 14, 1887, which means this Wednesday it'll be exactly 134 years. I'll end today's show like I end every show. It goes like this. Think black. I'm out.